Hello! Welcome back to another exciting week here at the Catch Up.
Of the Weekly Catch Up.
That's right.
With Alexander and Matthew.
And we've got a couple of special guests this week. A couple of good friends of mine, some people that I've known for a very long time. We've got Tim, who is a
boom operator at the Washington Air National Guard.
Boom operator.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about that. We've also got his lovely fiancée. Say your name.
Sophia.
What, did you forget, Alex? Is that...
I already know.
That's what I thought for a second. I was like,
wait a
this is
minute.
off to a bad start.
No.
Pause for
Let them introduce themselves. So we've got Tim and Sophia here. So we're going to talk to them kind of about, what Tim does and how that affects Sophia's lifestyle. And then we've got Matt here, of course. Who,
I just sit here and delegate. Don't worry about it.
Who we talk to sometimes here on the cast. But for those of you joining us for the first time, thanks for checking us out. Quick synopsis. Usually it's just me and Matt catching up on the week prior, the week before that, or the current week that we're in.
Just life itself. Catch up with life.
Catching up with life. Should that be our new tagline?
No.
The catch up. Catching up with life.
No.
No?
We already have Real Talk with Alex, which is after the first glass.
After the first glass of wine, then it's Real Talk with Alex.
Then it's Real Talk. Yeah, he'll give a serious opinion on something. Wait a minute. Real Talk with Alex.
Yeah, exactly.
No. We'll keep it working.
Okay, well, I guess we'll start off in our typical fashion where we talk about the alcohol we're drinking this week.
This is something else right here.
So,
Look at this.
for those of you who don't know or have been listening, you know that we started off drinking a lot of beer on the cast.
Mm-hmm.
But recently I've gone completely grain-free and added sugar-free. And so now I'm drinking wine, and Matt just has to put up with it.
I'm a nice guy.
Yeah.
What can I say?
Yeah. So this week we're drinking something called Dark Horse Double Down, which is a red blend from California. Did you guys ever watch that movie, The Wizard?
No.
What? You ever watched the movie, The Wizard?
No.
No,
Are
but
you
I was hoping
kidding
you were
me?
using the theme song from the OC and I was going to join in with you.
No. It's it's Jimmy Woods. He's kind of he's got like Downs or something, but he's really good at video games. This is like early '90s, and he like runs away with his brother, and they're going to this video game tournament. And at the tournament, at the very end of the tournament, the last game they have to play is Super Mario Bros. 3, and it's like the grand reveal of the game.
Oh, man.
You guys have to watch this movie! If you grew up playing Nintendo...
Yeah, of course.
Oh, it's amazing. We're going to have to watch it sometime. Okay, well, let's open her up.
So, did you purchase this just strictly because of the label?
Absolutely.
On the outside?
Yeah.
That's how I buy wine about 98% of the time.
I'm not going to tell you how much it costs because it wasn't expensive.
Yeah.
Also how I buy wine.
Me too. I just look for that barefoot on there. I'm like, that's probably what I'm going to end up getting today.
Yeah.
And then I brought my own libation of Deschutes Mirror Pond Pale Ale. It's one of my,
Libation?
I don't know if we've had that on the cast before.
What is it? Mirror Pond by Deschutes.
Oh, yeah.
One of my favorite beers. Just it's easy drinking. It's nothing too good flavor, nothing too hoppy.
Yeah. Oh, that was a good pop.
I know.
I wonder if we got that.
I didn't hold it next to the mic.
Hey, no worries.
I always
You
say
had the
my
proper
two
leverage on
favorite
there?
sounds is the wine bottle being opened and then the wine pouring into the glass.
Yeah, I'll do the... Oh, hold on. You gotta get the little flakes of metal off the top here.
Now, you had a contraption that you brought in with you to carry the beer.
Yes.
Now, let's just briefly discuss this thing. I've never seen anything like it.
So, for you listening at home, it's basically looks like a pool cue carrier.
I was going to
It
describe
does.
it like that.
Yeah.
It holds 5 beers inside it, and it's insulated, so it keeps them nice and cool. And then on the strap, it has a beer cozy that you can put the 6th beer in. So if you have canned beer, which a lot of microbrews are now making their beer in cans, it fits a perfect 6-pack. And that's exactly what I did with the store. Bought a 6-pack of canned beer and threw it in there.
Fuck yeah.
Because you got to have the 6th beer.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
perfect.
Real
It's
quick,
right on the strap so you can quick draw. It's time.
we're gonna listen to the first pour of the evening.
In these very, very narrow glasses.
Yeah, I'm gonna
The
fill
champagne
fill it
glasses?
basically all the way full.
Oh.
That's helps purple color.
Yeah.
That looks
Thank you.
that
You're
looks
welcome.
double bold. Is that what it says on there?
Double down.
Double down. Oh man.
We're doubling down. I actually did not check the percentage on this. If it's like 18, we're gonna have a good night.
Then we're good.
Yeah.
Maybe
Does
one
it,
bottle
does it
will
taste
do
like
us.
there's 18% in there?
No.
Doesn't taste like a
Okay.
bum wine?
Well,
There you-
thank
there you
you,
are,
kind
Matthew.
sir. Whoa,
Careful.
whoa.
Careful.
See, there's not a lot of room to pass with these things.
I know. And the third one.
No, not 18%, but actually pretty smooth.
Yeah.
There's
do you
not
think?
a lot of
Do you
dry.
like it?
Yeah.
It's not that dry. Pretty easy drinking as well over here.
Oh,
Which
wow.
A great and bad thing.
Yeah. You can definitely tell it's inexpensive. It's kind of sweet, like it's got kind of a cheap flavor, in my opinion.
Does it?
Not that I'm a connoisseur, but I do usually buy more expensive bottles of wine. I just like the label.
But did you
They don't-
did
yeah,
you
they
see
don't
his?
have
Exactly.
The way
This
you
one-
adjusted yourself?
No,
I
this
do
one-
typically buy more
So
expensive bottles of
this
wine.
other one, if we get into it, which we're almost done with that one, this one, I like that sometimes on the top shelf, they'll have, this is at Yolks, not like top shelf at some, like, Total Wine or anything like that. They'll have like $20 or $25 bottles of wine on sale. So this was like a $22 bottle of wine that I got for like $15.
Hey.
So yeah.
Well, and I should actually say I don't actually buy wine anymore because my dad is such a wine snob that he has an absurd amount of wine in his house. I mean, it's like
Every time you go
stashed.
over there, he just like hands you bottles.
Yeah.
That's
Or
awesome.
I quit buying it. I truly just call him up like, hey, you got any wine that needs a new home?
Because
And
why
I
he'll
get
buy
it.
because why
No
he'll buy
way.
like he'll buy like a case and only drink one and not like it and just
That has happened. He loves to buy wine. He's a wine snob. He has so much that he just every time he goes to the store he buys more wine. And he'll buy cases of wine and he has actually
man.
once returned an opened bottle of wine to the grocery outlet.
what?
Were you with him when this happened?
No. If I was, I
Stay
would not
in
be
the
his
car.
daughter.
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
Just
Wouldn't
like,
stand in
He's
line.
like, they'll accept any returns. And I was like, who takes an open bottle of wine back to the grocery outlet?
What, did he drink half and water it down?
No, he just think that it was so bad.
Really?
Yeah, he's a psychologist, and he actually used to teach a psychology of wine class. So,
Oh my god.
A
Okay.
psychology of wine class.
Mhm.
Have you taken this class?
no.
What's a, oh,
No, my favorite thing was like in college, like an undergrad to call him and be like, I'm drinking 2 buck Chuck. How does that make you feel?
oh man.
But like, what is the psychology of drinking
Yeah.
wine?
I need to know more about this. Yeah.
I wish I had better answers for you, but I kind of sometimes tune him out with that stuff
Oh, yeah.
just to make my life easier.
I see.
Oh, Tim knows all about it. Huh?
Here's my thing, right? So when I started drinking wine, I've never really liked wine. Not really. I've always been kind of a beer and liquor guy. But it's grown on me since I've kind of had to start drinking it.
Mm-hmm.
But when I started drinking it, like Neil would buy a bottle and it would be like, he'd be like, oh yeah, this is good stuff for some reason or other, and I'd drink it and I'd be like, it tastes like wine.
Yeah, I'm with you
Yeah.
on that.
So, I don't know. Maybe I just haven't had that, like, super amazing bottle of wine that's, like, hundreds of dollars or something that's going to change my life. I don't know. To me, it just kind of all tastes the same.
Yeah, it's just, for me too, it just all tastes the same. And then there's sometimes I can tell if there's a wine that I do like and a wine that I don't like, but for the most part it's like, wine's wine, and I'm not much of a wine drinker, but if that's what's available, I can have a glass or two.
I'm a wine drinker.
I will say, I do like not having the carbonation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see
Less belching.
Less belching, and because I think beer, I don't know this for sure, but I feel like beer is more watered down, so I can drink more wine before having to pee.
I 100% agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right? So there's a couple of upsides there just that I've noticed from drinking wine. But I want to know, since you mentioned it, what it's like growing up with a psychologist as a father. Did he just like analyze you all the time?
That's what everybody asks.
He's like, Sophia, you're just acting out right now because your mom did this later that day or something.
How do you feel
like
about
If
this?
anything of that sort happened, he kept it totally to himself. The main things I can remember, one of his has a master's degree in like child psychology, something or other. And so I can remember sometimes he would like take videos of like my brother and I playing or something and use those in his classes to help teach. Which I'm like, where's my royalties? I also don't remember giving my consent to that.
Right.
The ironic part is now I'm actually in grad school to become a therapist.
That is
So
Nice.
somehow that's
awesome.
come full circle.
Kind of rubbed off on you a little bit, huh?
Yeah. So
What are the differences and similarities between psychologist and therapist?
I'm learning a lot about that now. So the primary thing is to be a psychologist, you have to have a PhD. So I will not have a master's degree. I do not want a PhD. That is way too much work.
Mm-hmm.
The main difference, like I will be able, obviously I'll be a therapist, I'll counsel people and diagnose. But the primary difference between, say, me, what I'll be, and a psychologist can give tests and assessments.
I see.
So basically I joke, they can hand somebody a piece of paper to do a test, I cannot.
So no ink blot tests.
No ink blot tests. Nope.
Well, shucks.
But you can prescribe drugs.
No.
Oh, you can't. Therapists
No.
can't do that? Or...
Therapists cannot. You have to be a psychiatrist or any form of doctor or a nurse practitioner
So if you think someone needs medication, you have to refer them to
to see their doctor.
see their doctor.
Yep. Or if they're already seeing a psychiatrist, yeah.
Interesting.
It's a really confusing Venn diagram of a therapist, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a social worker. There's a lot we all will overlap in what we can do, and there's then certain things that only this person's allowed to do, and certain things only that person's allowed to do.
Now, Tim, is it tough living with a therapist or somebody who's going to school for?
Good question.
So it's
do you
she's
feel like
been in
you're-
school for now 2 weeks.
It's been a month.
Month? Okay, well. Time's flown by. So it's been very, I mean, she's full on college student, grad program it's very different than just your bachelor's degree. So she's full in it, full time. That's her job, that's what she does. So it's been interesting, it's been good so far. I mean, she's doing great at it.
But I mean, have you ever gone to school one day and then came home and talked with Tim and like something clicks and you're like, I learned about this at school today.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Really?
Oh man, and you know how bad it is during class? Like, we have to take a human lifespan development class.
My fiance
And-
does just that same thing.
There's a little bit of, there are so many things you're like, oh my god, or like, I do that. Oh, I saw that. Oh, my parents shouldn't have. Oh.
So how hard is it to stop yourself from overanalyzing yourself? You know what I mean?
I
Do you
think
just have
that's
to
gonna
come
be-
with you have to come to grips with the fact that like people are people and you have your mannerisms and you can't overcome them by just worrying about it?
Probably, yeah. And my kind of joke is because we talk a lot about this, like, how do you separate these parts of yourself, your personal life, and what's becoming your professional life? And my kind of joke now is like, people will be like, oh, well, you're gonna analyze me? I'm like, not if you're not paying me. You get to. I get paid to do that.
Nice.
In a few years.
And there's a big difference. Like, there's certain people who, Sophia, like when she's at work, and she kind of does bring that home. Like when she had her normal job, and she just needs to talk about it. When she gets home, she just needs to have that outlet of someone to talk to. Where I'm at work, I'm at work. When I'm home, I am home, and I don't think about work at all. Like it's just, it's just on and off switch.
So envious of.
It's just completely different. And that's just some people are like that. Like I can turn it on and off.
Yeah, I'm kind of in Sophia's boat a little bit just because it's so easy for me to work from home. So like a lot of the times on the weekends I'll be like, shit, I need to do those couple of tickets or something like that. You know what I mean? And then
Thinking
I'll just
about it.
hop on the computer, spend a couple hours, and subsequently get paid for it, which is nice to be able to hop on the computer at home
Yeah,
and
that's
like
great.
Oh, yeah.
make a couple bucks. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's hard for me just because it's so easy to work from home. It's hard for me not to think about work when I'm not at work. But from your perspective, or like when I worked at Petco, not comparing my job to Petco to what you do, obviously completely different. But when I worked at Petco, that was as soon as I stepped out the door.
Done.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Never thought about it.
Yeah.
Well, and I learned that's just how I process like my life. It's I have to like let it out somehow. Even if it's like journaling or talking it out, I have to. Otherwise, it just feels like my whole day and everything's built up inside of me.
I mean, I
My
really
life's
liked
the same way.
Yeah.
I really liked it. Kind of like she had to talk so much about her at work, and actually, I really felt like I knew her coworkers. I had no faces to them, but I knew their stories. Like I knew their sons, their kids, what they were doing, and like I was would kind of look forward to like what did
Brian do?
How did this go with them? And are they still? Are their kids still doing this, or did they finally get married? Or
You know,
very interesting.
Meet the in-laws yet?
actually, now that you say that, it reminds me, Matt, that one of our avid listeners, has proposed to me that it would be a good idea to have past guests back on to catch up on some of the things that they talked about. Yeah, exactly. Because exactly what you said, like we'll talk about something that they're doing or something like that, and then our listeners wonder, well, what happened to that person? Did they do that thing they were trying to do? Or
That's a fantastic
idea. Just a thought. Wanted to bring that up so I didn't forget. And Mindy, if you're listening, I hear your suggestions and I bring them up on the podcast.
Mindy is like on point with this stuff.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's why I want to have her on.
Shout out to Mindy for the second cast in a row.
That's right. It was super funny. Apparently, I had said, we called her out kind of on the last podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And I had said something like, I really hope she doesn't get mad at me or something like that. And then she listened to the podcast and I walked into the room and she just goes, I'm not mad at you. And I was like, thank God. For what? And I couldn't, because I didn't remember that I had said that, but she reminded me. Anyway.
Good idea.
Great idea. And that's, first of all, congratulations on, you told me this before, but congratulations on going to grad school and
Thank you.
doing the therapist thing. And you'll have to let me know how much what your rate is, because I have lots of things to talk about. We'll have you on the podcast, and we'll just talk out all my issues. I'll have way more issues in 2 years, so it's perfect.
Ooh, that could be interesting. Just doing a therapy session on a podcast.
Absolutely.
That would be interesting.
That would be.
And it'll
could
be
get ethically questionable.
It'll be your stepping stone.
Learning all about
ethically questionable.
Learning all about ethics right now.
It'll be your stepping stone into your own podcast, where every week you take on callers and then they tell you your problems and you tell them what's wrong.
Dude, that would be like in so many ways my dream. Can I just be like a Dan Savage or like Dr. Drew used to do like an advice love line podcast? I think it's still on, but that would just be like the dream.
We're gonna get you started. No worries. So Tim, let's talk a little bit about what you do.
All right, so yeah, I'm in the Washington Air National Guard, and when you hear that, you think of, that's the, the 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year, serve your country. Well, I'm a little bit more commitment than that. I am a boom operator, so I fly on the KC-135 and refuel other aircraft.
In the sky.
In the sky, yeah, so we're in the sky gas station, basically.
I watched a video the other day. I can't remember where I saw it or who showed it to me, but it was like, so like the plane getting fueled has this long line that's just trailing behind him, and it's got like a basket on it, and then the camera is like on the boom. Is that what it's called?
That would be the probe of the receiver.
The probe of the receiver. The camera's on the probe, and you can just see it just kind of like doing this, trying to come into the basket.
Oh yeah, it's pretty wiggly.
And then
from what I understand.
And then he just gets it right like inside the lip of the basket, and then it just sucks right in.
Yep. So that is the baskets. Our planes can be set up to have MIPers or drogue, which are the baskets, and that's how foreign and Navy fighters refuel. So Navy fighters and foreign fighters have those little probes, which is like this little thing that sticks out, and they plug the basket. That's how they get refueled. The Air Force, or any like F-16s or anything like that we sell to other foreign nationals, they have just a port where instead of having the basket, we have it's almost reversed. Like we have a giant probe, and we plug into the receiver rather than them having a basket or anything. It's like this hard mounted thing on the plane, and we plug into them.
So which one's more difficult?
Definitely the boom refueling, where we don't have the basket. We hard plug into the plane.
And why? What makes that so difficult?
Oh, so like when the baskets, my job as a boom operator is either to hold and just let them do all the work.
Really?
Yeah.
So they have to hook the basket into the...
Yeah, so the baskets are just like flying behind the airplane, and they are the ones who come in and make contact.
You just have to stick out your probe.
Yeah.
There's so many sexual innuendos.
It's every time Tim talks about it, I just try not to giggle.
Yeah. So it can be very very stressful. Like, so when I'm making the contact, when I'm moving my probe into them, I don't know how to best way to put that. It's called.
We're just gonna have to get over it, so just keep going.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm still not over it, so don't worry. It's been 3 years.
So like I'm actually like it's actually like flying there. It's got wings on it basically, and I move the wings to fly my my probe around into them. So they have to they come in to a certain degree and they just kind of hold still as I reach out because I can extend it into their receptacle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how.
So do you have to?
So it has wings on it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So do you ever have to get on the radio and be like, hey, you guys need to move closer, like 45 degrees down?
Absolutely. So
stop moving, please.
Yeah. As they come in, if they come in too far, they're too low. Standard calls are up 3, down 4, and they know they need to move up 3 units is just a little bit, or up 5 is a lot, or so they have a small window where they have to stay at where it's safe for them to actually be at, and they can move around a little bit, but you got to make sure if they're starting to fall off or move out of the range, you can over the radio call them left 3 if you could, or just left 3, and they'll turn back to the center. So
it seems like a pretty delicate process.
Yeah, I mean it's 2 airplanes flying within 20 feet of each other, so it's not the
within 20 feet.
Yeah, it's pretty darn close. Yeah,
Jeez.
They can.
Does weather have a factor to play in this?
Absolutely. I mean, so you can't refuel when it's bumping around, because you just can't be stable. So what happens then is you find clear air. I mean, there's never you can go above it, go below it, go to the right, go to the left, and you and there's been times where I've sat back there waiting for 20 minutes, and we're trying to get clearance from ATC. All right, we're climbing up 1,000 feet, still bad. 1,000 feet, still bad. Right of course, 2 miles. A little bit better. Let's go up another 1,000 feet, and then it's finally okay enough for them to come in and get a contact.
You said for ATC to give clearance. Who's that? What's that?
ATC is the ground control, so
air traffic control.
Air traffic control. Yeah. It's,
really? So there's always a tower somewhere nearby? You don't.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about in the United States, and usually even in deployed locations, there's some sort of ATC controller tells you where to go and where to be at. So you never just Rambo in it, doing your own thing. Someone knows where you're at and what you're doing.
Gotcha. So how long have you been doing that, Tim?
Actually, it's just 3 years now. 3 years is where I'm at as a boom operator, and it's been a great thing. So earlier I said that it's the 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year kind of National Guard thing, but I am a full-time National Guard person now, so it is my sole job, and I work 4 days a week, plus extra drills on the weekends, plus a deployment every now and then, and other trips. So
congratulations! I know. I think a while ago you said that you were trying to get the full-time job.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's great that you got it.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with now where I'm at full-time there, and plan on making a career out of it, getting a good 20 plus years.
Right, and then retiring.
Fantastic.
That's amazing.
Yep. So I'm assuming you had a passion for flying prior to this, or how did this?
I always enjoyed flying, but when I joined the National Guard, I did not intend to be a boom operator. I was an HVAC technician, was going to do that as a civilian, but the opportunity came up. I applied for it, and it's a very competitive thing, and I was able to get a job. So, and I just love it. I get to travel, and I just love the actual refueling other planes. I got pictures of almost everything I've refueled, and it's a blast.
So when you first started out, what was it? Pretty nerve-wracking?
Oh, absolutely.
Like your first couple connections, you know?
Oh, you're scared shitless. Oh yeah, it's.
What's the worst?
Next to a huge plane.
What's the worst that can happen? You stab into the hull of their ship,
or they run into your plane.
A collision.
That's filled
potential.
with how many thousands of gallons of gas?
Yeah, the worst thing would be you
collide.
One plane, the receiver comes in too far, and they crash into the boom, and that sends your plane into a spiral, and it could be very bad.
But that's on them, right? But I mean, so what's?
Yeah, but I mean, it could also be your fault too. So
how so?
If you're not telling them to back up fast enough or whatnot.
Have you ever been in a situation where you have to be back up, back up, back up?
Yeah, and there's a procedure. It's called a breakaway. So you call breakaway, and then your pilots who have no idea what's going on in the back, because they have no idea. All they hear that call and they just firewall the throttles, just full blast as fast as they can. The receiver, they should put on the speed brakes and dive down away from you so that they can back up as soon as possible. And I've had a few legit calls where it's oh shit, they're gonna hit us, and call it, and then we get that separation. But yeah, it's
how many times?
Wow.
I've had probably about 4 or 5 like legit ones that are real bad.
In 3 years.
Yeah.
So that's not that bad.
Close to 1 a year, but still.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't often think of your job as super heavy about like communication, but communication is really important when you're actually doing that.
And then there's other times where like I've
And is it just human error, or is it turbulence, the unexpected turbulence?
It can be turbulence, and it can be human error. Like I had one time, I had a student on a fighter or something like that, and he was coming in, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he just flew up, like almost hitting the plane. I had to yank my control stick, joystick out of the way, and I was like, what? And when that happens, pilots always talk about like, well, we'll hit the throttles according to the pitch of your voice, because like when that happens, you're like, like, sure enough, like So after that, so like the student had a instructor pilot who was in the cockpit with them. Like I think it was an F-16 dual cockpit, and
you gotta finish that off, and then
the instructor was like, sorry about that. I think we're gonna be done for the day, and I'm really like the instructor apologized profusely about that, and you can tell like the kid was super shaken up, and
yikes.
And we've also had times where like you're in the desert and the fighter's just kind of not really there. I mean, he just dropped some ordnance, and could have been like his first time dropping ordnance, the first time doing something like that, and he's just kind of, like a little bit of shell shock, a little bit.
Right.
And they're just kind of out of it. So.
And then you have to break away.
Yeah. Or you have to like talk to him like, hey, how you doing okay? Oh yeah. Sorry, yeah, I'm doing alright. Alright, let's take it nice and easy, nice and slow.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, in the 3 years that you've been doing this, what has been your worst fuck up?
My worst fuck up?
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to have it legally. So we have checklists that we have to follow, and you have to follow them, and if you follow the checklist, you can be fine. I didn't follow the checklist. I missed a step. It was a very stupid step to miss. Anyways, it reduced my ability to move my boom around, and I was like, oh shoot, what the heck? I couldn't, for the life of me, I couldn't figure out what was wrong. And it's like, these guys actually need their fuel really bad, so I was like, fuck it, I'll just give them their fuel. And I reduced my window instead of having like this big envelope for them to move around in. I was like, you gotta stay like precise. And then after they refueled them, then I was like, what the heck's going on? And then I found the error in the step, and I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of a big thing. I might have broken something on the plane, but I don't think I did. So
now, do you have your designated aircraft? Like, do you go up in the same plane every time, or
no? It's the base Fairchild out here has like 50 something planes on the ramp or something, and you show up and they're like, oh, you're flying a 1472 or whatever, and so you're like, all right, well, I don't know this plane, or there's a quote unquote hog log, and like if anybody in your unit's flown it, they'll be like, oh hey, by the way, watch out for we had this problem last time, hopefully they fixed it. So
oh geez.
Yeah, I mean the planes they're over 60 years old, so they're not new, they're pretty old. And I mean
the toilet is a box. It's a metal box.
It's literally a box.
The toilet?
Yeah.
So how long are you up there for? Like,
so local training stories are probably around like 3 to 4 hours, but when you get deployed, I mean they're up to 12-hour long flights.
Holy
wow!
Yep, those.
There were a few where because he's usually pretty good. Like if when he's deployed, and they're gonna fly. Like he'll let me know, so I know I'm not gonna hear from him for a long time. But there were some flights where I was like, the few times that I got nervous because like it's been well over 12 hours and I've heard nothing.
Yeah.
So when you get on those deployments, is it you're deployed and you're flying to, what was that?
There's something in the bottom of my glass.
What did you put in there?
Nothing.
Probably the bottom of the bottle.
Oh, it's probably the bottom of the bottle. You're right.
A little sediment.
Anyway, when you're
a little surprise. It's cool.
When you're deployed like that, is it that you're deployed to a destination to refuel a plane, or is it you're deployed to a destination, you land back again, and then you're going out to refuel multiple planes?
No, so the deployment works like, so you go to this central location, which is kind of somewhere in the Middle East, and then when you fly that day, you go to the jet, and then you have just to get into the area where you refuel other planes is probably about a 2 to 3 hour drive in colleges. So you drive out to the area, 2 to 3 hours, then you have scheduled receivers that you refuel, and then sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. I mean, things are dynamic, things are always changing, so you can be there for, I mean, I've had it where we show up, and they're like, oh yeah, you're not refueling who you thought you were, just stand by. And so you literally are in the sky just doing holes for like 2, 3, 4 hours.
Doing holes.
No
That's
way.
Just like doing
Just
circles.
circle,
Yeah,
big
doing
circles.
circles. Doing circles, just hanging out, not really doing anything, just waiting and waiting.
And what's the expectations on you during that time? Like, can you sit back and read a book, or are you like fucking? You have to be like fucking ready to go for when someone needs to refuel.
No, I read a book. I usually have a hammock that I put up in the back.
No way.
He
Yeah.
does.
I hammock up and I'll take naps. I don't have to do
Nice.
even the pilots. Well, I mean, as long as I mean, I'll also still be on headset. So if something happens, I can like, oh okay, yeah. It's like half naps. You know, I'm awake. I'm kind of paying attention, but I'm also kind of sleeping.
Yeah.
Easy to get my attention.
Half
say
in, half
something.
out.
Yeah. But yeah, it can be pretty boring up there. I mean, you can get to know the people you're flying with. So it's 2 pilots and me. So we get to know each other pretty well. And
How much do you know?
Do you
about-
fly with the same crew every time? Sorry to interrupt.
yeah,
there,
when
but I
you're
mean,
deployed, it's a hard crew. So it's the same 2 people for like 2 months or a month. You're flying the same people, so you get to know them real well.
Yeah.
And you also kind of like, even when you're not flying, you still kind of hang out together. Like, all right, hey, going to work out. All right, we'll go work out together. We'll go eat food together. We'll do the same things together. Just because, I mean, it's someone you know there. So
I'm amazed every time like he comes back from a deployment. If I like pick him up or whatever, the things all of a sudden the guys in his unit know about me, and it kind of throws me off for a second because I'm like, how do you? And then I forget. Oh, you've been in a plane with Tim for 12 hours on
Yeah.
average for the past 2 months every day or something. I'm like, how did you know?
So, have you ever flown with some pilots that you were like, ooh, these guys suck?
You're like, dang, I gotta spend 12 hours with this guy.
Or 3
Yeah.
months.
Or 3 months.
yeah. So my first one was actually kind of like that, and so the pilot I didn't really like or get along with. I mean, I kind of got along with, but the co-pilot we were actually pretty good friends. So it was a lot of like me and the co-pilot. We're like, all right, we got each other. We can like kind of back each other up, and we hung out a lot outside of the plane, and kind of like left the pilot to do his own thing.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, 'cause he's not a fun guy. He's not a great pilot. So we were like, oh my gosh.
Bummer.
My
Yeah.
life's in this guy's hands.
Yeah.
How often does that happen?
Not too often, really honest. Like in my whole unit, there's only like probably like 3 or 4 people out of like 60 that I really don't.
Wow, 60
like.
people in your unit.
Yeah, and then there's really not that many people that I would really be like, I don't know about this person. So, and for the most part, that one pilot's the only pilot that I really don't trust his ability to fly that much. So,
Do you ever have the opportunity to voice those concerns? Or
Oh, yeah.
do your superiors just like say, like, you know, like, nut up, he's fucking going on the plane?
I mean, not really like that. I mean, you can if you're not feeling comfortable with something, I can always say like, knock it off, do something else because I'm not comfortable with this. And as far as like, there's no rank in the jet, as they say. So I am on equal footing with them. I mean, it's all our lives on the line, so it's not like
Right.
they can just shut up. We're doing this. So
You can just be like, fuck that, no, we're not. That is a terrible idea.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Damn.
So
Well, now I want to know what is one. We'll do the good one first. What's your most favorite place you visited or deployment you've had, and then your least favorite, in that order.
I don't know. So if we go to deployments or trips, because that's a little bit different.
Well, let's do deployments first and then trips.
So deployments, the best place is Guam. It's a tropical island, U.S. territory, small island, and it's fantastic. It's just jungle with a lot of hidden beaches.
Oh,
It's awesome.
man.
Whatever his answers are going to be, just so you know, mine will be the reverse. What
Okay.
his favorite is my least favorite.
Well,
Why didn't you like Guam?
Yeah, well, yeah. Let's,
Because I don't get to go, and it's a paid vacation.
I see.
That one is a paid vacation, 100%.
Yeah.
And then you get these
It
teaser
really is.
photos. Hey, look where I'm at.
Uh-huh.
Oh, jeez.
So Guam, hidden beaches, little islands,
Tropical paradise.
tropical paradise. I
Weather's,
mean, what
weather's awesome.
more detail? Like, what was there? What are the people like? And was it cheap to eat there? And
Prices are the same here in the States as far as food goes. Not the greatest selection of restaurants, but I mean there are some pretty darn good restaurants, some amazing places. Poke fries.
is there
Top
is there a lot of seafood?
There is, but it's weird that like some of the seafood there isn't great.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting.
I like. Yeah, it's okay as far as seafood goes.
So what about like beef? Like I feel like places like that.
Yeah, the
is-
beef's weird there too. So
Is it
it's
really
like,
expensive? Because I've heard that like in Hawaii, for example, beef is super expensive because it's on an island and in short supply.
Yeah, it might be a little bit more expensive, but not by much.
I see.
But it's some of the beef, the quality of beef is definitely not that great because obviously they got to ship it in from somewhere and it's not
Right.
coming from.
Not fresh.
Yeah, it's not fresh. So, but it's okay. But I mean, it's a lot better than my other deployed location, which is like in the desert, which is just eating at a chow hall, mass chow that's crappy and it's just hot as shit there all the time.
This would be your least favorite deployment?
Oh yeah.
Would you remember the location?
Yeah, it's IUD in Qatar. That is not great.
IUD in Qatar.
Yep.
Not great.
No,
I like
Because
it
you-
when he's there. I'm not jealous.
Oh, you're sweating again, huh?
it's not too bad. I mean, I can live through it, and I'm going back there in a year from now, actually. So
Oh, really? You already know?
yeah,
You already
that's
have the
another
deployment schedule?
pitching for the guard. I pick my deployments and I schedule them out. Whereas if you're active duty, like they just tell you like, oh hey, by the way, you're leaving in 2 weeks for 2.5 months. Where I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna.
Well,
how
then
about this time
why
of
would
year?
you pick the least favorite place you have to go?
And it's kind of a way to. Well, so like we have a lot more commitments to the desert area than we do to the tropical islands. So like there's only 2 months a year that we go to the tropical island. I think there's like 10 months out of the year that we go to the desert.
So if you want to make money, you're gonna have to go there eventually.
Well, you kind of also it's like a weight of effort. Like you can't always dodge the good.
You
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
always
bad
get to go on
place.
your paid vacation.
Yeah. I mean, I almost went again to Guam this year, but I opted to step off of it, let someone else take it over. So
Oh, that was
Yeah.
nice.
Did
of
you have someone chirping in your ear?
kind of, it was more like they're like, hey, do you wanna go on this? Do you wanna go to Guam deployment, or do you wanna just do this 2-week trip? And I was like, I'll take the 2-week trip. So I'm gone from home less, and I still get to go somewhere.
So do you ever worry, like if you go to Guam enough times, is it gonna lose its majesty,
Probably.
its majestic nature?
So that's the thing is like, usually they have a hard time filling it because all the old hats they've been there 4 or 5 times, and the other thing is when they go there, all they do is just drink and party. I mean, I drink, but I don't drink a ton. Also, like a few beers for me is a great night. I don't need much.
Yeah.
And I'm more explorative than a lot of them. They are like they're not like just play golf, drink beer, and that's it. I like to. There's plenty of hikes and cool waterfalls you can discover.
Oh man.
Lots of different beaches to try and find, and so
Tombs to raid.
yeah. Get this: the world's tallest world's tallest mountain is on Guam.
Really? Elevation wise?
No, tallest from peak to trough.
Because elevation is Mount Everest, right?
Yes, but this it's all along the Marianas Trench, so the peak all the way down to the bottom of Marianas Trench, because it's all right along there. It's something like 36,000 feet, so it's higher than Everest.
Shit. So
Yeah.
you're like
Wow.
above the clouds if you get to the top.
Well, no, I mean it's only like maybe like 1,000 feet above the sea level.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not that tall. It's not that big of a hike to go up. It's fun to go up to the top. There's like a little placard and like world's tallest mountain.
Awesome.
And it's not the highest, but it is tallest.
Okay.
You
No,
gotta
I
make- you gotta
I
make sure-
get it. I
You
get
gotta
it.
make
The
sure
verbiage.
you gotta make sure you have the right verbiage. So
Right.
yeah.
Like Reno, it's the world's largest little city.
Right.
There you go.
Right? Isn't that what it is? Or biggest little city, something like that. I don't remember the actual
Yeah.
catchphrase. Biggest little
So,
city.
I mean, there's lots of cool stuff there.
Right on. Okay. And Qatar is shitty because it's just hot and bad food.
Yeah, bad food. It's hot. You can't really go you just stay on base in the military compound, and
Because it's not
You can't-
it's not good for
it's
U.S.
just
military to walk around, or
it's just you gotta jump through a lot of hoops to get off base, and usually I'm not there long enough to jump through all the hoops and find time because I'm also flying a lot, so it's a lot. I fly a lot more in the desert. The sorties are a lot longer, and so it's not as.
what when you say jump through hoops to get off base? What do you where's the red tape?
Yeah, it's a deployed location, and some people get there for deployed there for like a year or two, and so you gotta go through this briefing, you gotta have this stamped, you gotta go to this area to get this briefing, and you gotta get that stamped.
So that you can conduct yourself accordingly outside off base.
Yeah, and then you gotta go to approved. You have to go on approved trips into the city, because you can't drive yourself off because you don't have a car. So there's a lot of things you gotta do in order. And so I've done it to where I've gone through all the hoops. I was there for 2 months, and so I went through all the hoops. By the time I was able to get through all the hoops, I only had a week or two left. So I was like, all right, my options of trips were not great because I also had to check it against my flying schedule. So I'm flying all the time, so I'm like, well, the only trip I can actually go on is to a mall. I go to a mall, and it's literally just a mall that you would find here, and
really,
Oh.
it had
with a fucking
Gap,
Best Buy or some shit.
it had Claire's.
You see, he brought me back jewelry that was their version of Claire's, that
was
you
like-
see, it was.
and it was
Awesome.
It was nothing special, and I was like, well, that was not worth it. It might be worth it if you're there longer, and you can once you get through all the hoops, then it's easy to get off, but I have to jump through all of them every time I'm there, and it's just, And from what I saw, I'd like to try it again to try and get a better off base experience. But all I saw was a mall. I was like, this is stupid. So
Now, are you in the air every day when you're there?
at least every other day, but sometimes it's you fly 2 or 3 times and then you're off one, and it depends on the season. Sometimes you're flying 4 or 5 times in a row, and then you're off a day, and so it all depends.
I gotcha.
So you talked about this. You asked me when I was asking you about your favorite and least favorite. You said it was that deployment or trip. Now, what's the difference between a deployment and a trip?
So deployments are a month or 2 months at a time. Trips are a TDY. So you go somewhere to help either another unit refuel, or you're carrying people. We can actually carry troops on our planes, so we'll fly to Kansas, pick up a bunch of people because they need to get to Florida for some training that they have. So we fly down to Kansas, pick them all up, fly down to Florida, drop them off, and then either we'll fly home or we'll wait for to finish their training. Their training's over the weekend, so we just get to hang out there for a weekend, and then come Monday we load them up and we fly them back. So some of those trips, I've gone to Malaysia for a state partnership for peace, because Washington State's partnership for peace with Malaysia, and they wanted us there to show off our plane, and we brought some fighters with us, so we refueled them on the way over, and we had an air show. We just kind of hung out, and we got to see the air show, and
He got a new girlfriend while he was down there.
Uh-oh.
so
Whoa.
Uh-oh.
That I found through Instagram.
Whoa, shit.
It's funny because
Caught.
so we're during the day I would show up at the jet in a uniform, and people wanted to oh, American, okay, we'll take pictures.
It's like a classic air show you'd go to here. Same
Yeah,
idea.
and then they want to get a picture of me I'm wearing my flight suit and the plane in the background. And they're like, oh, I want pictures. Got my pictures taken 100,000 times a day. And so, we kind of searched the hashtag of the air show that we're at. And every now and then you'd see someone oh, there you are. And one of them was like, meet my new pilot boyfriend. And it was a picture of
This
me.
young girl
No
with
way.
Tim.
Nice.
Oh my God.
And it's so Malaysia's a Muslim country too, so she's wearing a full
Hijab.
hijab. There we go. And I'm like, oh boy, this is.
I thought it was hilarious.
It was funny. It was,
My new pilot.
Boyfriend.
Which
Yeah.
was also funny. It's he's not a pilot.
yeah, exactly. So that was kind of a fun time.
We'd have more money.
Yeah.
Is that ever anything that you might be interested in? Or are you like,
it is,
like, nope, I'm a boom operator, it's cool.
It would have been if I was would have joined like 5 years earlier, but it is too late for me now.
To go through the training and the
Yep.
school?
Yep, you have to have any bachelor's degree, doesn't matter what it is. It can be in exercise science or winology if there's a degree in that.
Mixology,
or whatever.
Yeah, if I joined the military, I'd technically rank higher than him right now.
Yeah.
Just
So
on entry.
right?
No way.
yeah.
With a bachelor's degree. Yeah.
She'd be an officer. I'm enlisted, so you have to have a bachelor's, and then you have to be in pilot training by your by 30. So
Wow.
I'm 30 now. I don't have my bachelor's degree even started, so it's too late.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm happy where I'm at.
Sure.
Yeah.
But if it was 5 years, because I joined the Air Force or National Guard late. If I would have joined 5 years earlier, I probably would have a lot more motivation to actually get a degree and try to be a pilot. But I'm at where I'm at.
So out of all the trips that you've taken, what was your least favorite one?
Least favorite.
The most grueling, the most like annoying, the one that you were like, man, I have to spend the next 6 hours doing this. This sucks.
Well, unfortunately, we don't get like too many bad trips because we have a
I don't
great.
think you're gonna get an answer
Yeah,
to that
you
one.
get-
No.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Our-
If you don't have an answer, that's totally legit.
My current ops is a good friend of mine, Kale. He's the one who like picks up trips or buys them or quote unquote, and he doesn't get bad deals. So because nobody's gonna volunteer for a bad deal. I will say this: I've had some exercises, so those are like those aren't fun, and I've had to do a couple of those where you exercise like you're running. Think of it as you running out to the jet and starting it in an emergency situation. And they're just
drills and shit.
Yeah, drills on them. So those I'll say that's like the worst of the situations.
But how often does that happen?
It's supposed to happen like about once or twice a year, or once every 1 or 2 years. That's what it is. But like, funny thing about that was, it's like it's around the clock, whatever, and you have no idea when the alarm's gonna go off and you have to run out there. So I was like, I need to take a nap. I'm dead tired. So I tell my pilots, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna conk out for like 20 minutes.
And this is at the base in town?
That's at the base, and like they have like these beds for us set up, and so I go down and I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna take a quick nap. I'm out, and then all of a sudden my phone goes off. Turns out the alarm went off, and my crew had already gone to the jet, and like
You didn't hear the alarm at all?
no, because it was over like these little radios, and I didn't have one. So my pilots were supposed to like come and grab me. They didn't. They just went straight to the jet, and as they're going out to the jet, like, oh crap, we forgot Tim. So they call my cell phone as they're out there. And they're like, we gotta learn, we gotta go. So here I am, like, luckily I had everything set up, so I just had to jump on my flight suit, zip it up, threw on my shoes, didn't even tie them, and I just booked it out, and I just ran across like the tarmac to the jet, and still was able to make timing.
Isn't
but
the military
nice.
thing like
Oh.
no man left behind?
Yeah, but it
They
was
came very close to breaking the number one rule.
it was pretty funny. Like that was but I mean that sucked because we were stuck there for like 3 days, and they interrupted us like at night, and they had us like waiting outside for like you're just in the jet waiting for the next call for like 4 hours, and then like, all right, you guys can go back in, you're good. So it was.
So that brings up actually a question. You made me think of a question. Do you ever have to run through scenarios?
Yeah, that's the whole thing that the exercise is different scenarios. Like they'll be like, all right, you're now waiting. I don't want to go too much into it, to be honest, because it's all secret classified stuff.
Basically,
Okay.
we're both in careers filled
can
with
you
secrets.
just can you at least can you just nod to me if yes, shake your head if no? Is there a scenario where aliens are invading Earth?
Not that I know of.
Damn it!
What about zombies?
Not that I know.
Okay.
No,
So
aliens
sometimes
are
he can
way
be
more
so,
plausible.
like, secretive in some ways. My mom always jokes that he's not actually like a boom operator. He's probably a spy. But like, my mom just says long running that I've just accepted now too that he's probably a spy. And yeah.
I've known Tim for a very long time, and if he's a spy, he's a damn good one, because
See,
I
that's-
wouldn't know.
I always say his face can't tell lies, but I'm like, maybe he's that good that
Maybe
he has been
Exactly.
able to.
Exactly.
So you've known Tim for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you two meet? Trying to kind of change topics here. What's up with this?
Shit. Did we meet through Mitch, or did I meet you earlier? You went to Evergreen, right?
Yeah.
So we went to middle school together, but I don't know that we
I
hung
think
out.
Mitch was the conduit.
Is that what he was?
Yeah.
Who is Mitch?
Mitch
Yeah, I've never heard of Mitch
Peterson.
either.
Peterson. I wasn't sure if we were going to do the last name, so alright.
Mitch Peterson actually transferred to our middle school from I don't even remember where.
He moved here from California. I thought.
That's what it was?
Yeah.
It was it our 8th grade year that he came in? Was it our last year or our 7th
Yeah.
grade year?
I think it was our 8th grade. It was probably our last year. Just go because I was probably right at the end of junior high, going into high school.
I met Mitch. He was in my music class.
Uh-huh.
The music class, and that's where I met Mitch. And he played percussion. I played percussion. Percussion is like, for those of you who don't know, percussion is the instruments that you hit stuff with. So the drums,
Excuse me?
the instruments that you hit stuff with.
Uh-huh.
Is the triangle technically included in that? You hit the triangle.
Yes, the triangle is a percussion instrument.
Good call.
Yeah. So we're like the claves, the timpanis, tenors,
Mhm.
yeah, bass drums, snare drum, those kind of deals. Technically, I think like the like xylophone,
Yeah.
like all those kind of instruments with mallets.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to think of the really big one. Marimba, that was my favorite. I think those are technically percussion instruments. Maybe not because they actually play notes. I don't know. Let's not get into details of that. Anyway.
Anyway.
Wikipedia.
Off of the
later.
marimba,
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. Go look up how wrong I am later. But that's where I met Mitch. And then, somehow through it's been years and years ago now. This was middle school, right? And we're
Did
fucking
Tim have a
30 years
mohawk at
old.
that point?
Tim didn't do the rock the mohawk till high school.
I had one in
You
junior
lost
high.
your mohawk.
Did you?
Ooh.
Yeah.
At one point.
At one
so-
point in junior high, I had one for a little
Tim had a
bit.
mohawk since he was like 2.
On and off.
On and off.
Mm.
Yeah.
But yeah, somehow from there I met Tim and Russell and who else do we have? Derek. Who else do we hang out with? Trevor.
Yeah, Trevor. Lee. Evan Swick.
But who was it?
Wow, you've known
no.
all these guys for this long.
Evan Swick.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But who were the people that were over at fucking Mitch's house almost every day?
Joey.
you, Mitch,
Joey.
and Joey.
Russell.
And Russell. That was our
That was the
core
gang.
crew back then. God damn, it was a long time ago. Mitch's house was awesome.
So you
His
two
parents were
have
great.
known each other for quite some time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Absolutely.
And we were roommates for a while.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I was a terrible roommate. I apologize.
Whoa.
I apologize
Tim's
right now.
like, oh, I remember those dishes.
Oh
you son of a-"
no,
just
it was
kidding.
more like the shitty friends and drugs. I was always
Oh.
smoking weed, doing ecstasy and stupid shit in our apartment.
Do you think Alex knows secrets I don't know about you? Can we have a secret off about you?
Uh-oh.
Probably not.
No, I don't
No.
think so.
No, that's
Did you
not
How
sad.
tell
long
her?
were you
did you tell
roommates
her?
for?
Just like a year.
Yeah, I think it was just...
And then
Oh,
Tim was
sorry.
like,
Oh, that bad,
fuck
huh,
this.
Tim?
I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lease is up, son.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was about a year, and then...
Yeah, you bought your house when you were
Yeah.
21.
Yo.
Solid. Well done.
Yeah.
I will say, did you tell her about the time?
Uh-oh. Here we go. This is juicy.
It's not even that bad. Did you tell her about the time that your parents let us beer bong on school nights?
Oh, fuck, no. I don't know if I did. No?
Judging by the look on her
There's
face.
things I hear sometimes about your high school years
So the
that I
back-
just can't put together with the people I
The
know.
backstory of this was, so I used to throw huge parties. And so this one particular weekend, my parents were gone for over a week on a Alaska cruise. And so I had this huge party. And it was big.
I was definitely there.
And
pretty sure, right?
definitely there.
someone, I'm pretty sure it was Joey Taylor, cried wolf, or cried cop. So basically, it's like,
Everyone fucking left.
everyone left, but what didn't happen was nobody took their beer with them. So like all their beer was left, and there was only like 3 or 4 people left in my house. We couldn't finish the beer. So then every night that week, while my parents were gone, Alex would come over and we'd watch anime.
Mm-hmm.
And
Awesome.
Samurai 7 was the anime we'd watch.
Fuck yes, that's such a good anime.
And we would beer bong and drink, and then we'd go to school the next day hungover or still drunk or whatever.
Oh, boy.
And
I have a
senior
good
year for
story
us,
there.
for me, it was super easy, so it's
Mhm,
whatever.
mhm.
So my parents came back, and then we tried to like continue that.
Tim convinced them to let us beer bong
Whoa,
under
whoa,
their
whoa.
supervision
So
on
they
a
knew
school night.
about it. They knew about it.
We had made, I don't know if it was we, I think it was mostly Tim. I don't know if I was
had
there.
a giant beer bong.
Made a fucking badass beer bong. I don't even know what the fucking diameter of that
Funnel
hose
sizes?
was. Oh, dude, the funnel was fucking like this big.
Like,
It held like 3 or 4 beers.
no, the
Oh
whole
my-
thing held over 10 beers.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Well,
it was
including
like-
the 2.
Well, the hose.
The
yeah.
two held
included.
like 2 or 3 beers, and then the funnel itself. The funnel was so massive, like you could fit like 6 or 7 beers in just the funnel.
Yep. But it had a fucking
Jeez.
valve on it. You had
Yeah.
to fucking put
Oh,
your
you
like
put a
whole
valve
mouth
on
over
it?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
it was
So
legit.
You like loaded it up.
Wow.
It was fucking. We had that beer bong for forever. It was super awesome because in Tim's room in the basement, where he stored it. So he stored it on. He like
Which,
had.
wait. First, let's explain Tim's room in the basement. It was windowless. There was not a single window. He
It was
chose
perfect.
to move in to the most like
Yes.
dark, windowless, sad
It
room.
was awesome.
But okay.
It's always happy with the beer bongs.
So no. So you have to. But I have to tell you about
You
this.
don't
So
need windows with
the
that
beer.
thing.
The beer bong was on hooks on the wall, but it was
It
in.
has its
And then he
dedicated
took.
hook?
And then he took tape. And he made stick figures, so when you had it up on the wall, it looked like one stick figure was holding it up for another stick figure that was fucking taking the beer bong.
There
It
has
was
to be a picture
awesome.
of this.
There is
Somewhere in the archive.
Somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
somewhere.
the stickers are actually painted. They weren't taped.
Oh, they were taped.
I taped them out, then painted it on the wall,
Nice.
and it was, yeah, it was pretty fucking
It was
awesome.
awesome. But,
Wow.
But I gotta finish the story. So the night this happened once, by the way. Tim convinced his parents. This happened one time, and then we fucking went outside because we did it outside because you gotta the beer comes out of the tube and everything. And I can't remember who it was. It was either me or you, but we like fucking couldn't take it. And I can't remember if we just like spit it out or threw up. Either way, his mom was watching through the kitchen window.
My word.
And she sees this and she's just like, no more, not doing this.
Yes. The next day she's like, I don't know, I did not like that. I was like, okay.
So we did not do that again. But
She allowed it to happen for that evening?
She
Yeah,
did.
yeah. She didn't
Yeah.
say anything that night, but she said, no, you're
Oh, jeez.
But during
You're
that week,
so proud of yourself still.
during that week
That
while
was
they were
funny.
gone, we got really drunk, stayed up really late one night, and we got up the next morning and we drove to school in Tim's VW Bug.
Nice.
It was red. It was badass. He had a kick-ass sound system.
What
in it.
year?
69.
Oh,
Yeah.
solid.
You have a 69.
Yep.
So we get to school. I go to World something. Mr. Challenge's class. You remember Mr. Challenge? He was like a history teacher kind. No, he was like I don't remember. Anyway,
I bet it was current world affairs.
fucking A. That's
Yep,
exactly what
we
it
had
was.
to take that too.
Or some shit like that. Anyway, there was a sub that day. Thank God, because Challenge is a fucking hard ass, and if he smelled booze on me, I would be fucking like in cuffs. Anyway, he had a substitute, and I came in, and there was a test, which Challenge always does when when he has to get a sub in. He just makes the sub do a test, and the sub's like. So I'm like, okay, now if you miss class or something like that, Challenge says you don't have to take it. You can take it when he gets back. And so he comes to me and he's like, test? And I'm just like, no, dude, I fucking missed shit. I don't know. I shouldn't take this. And he's like, all right, great. And so he goes around and Russell sat right behind me in Challenge's class. And I'm drunk. Like, I am not hungover. I am still drunk from the night before. This is in high school. And I remember just fucking sitting there, twiddling my thumbs, just like feeling drunk, like, uppity, and I fucking just like turn around over to Russ's desk and I'm like reading over his test and I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't do this. I don't know any of these answers. And fucking the sub's like, excuse me, you need to turn around. And I'm just like, all right, dude, but this is awesome. I'm just saying, it was fucking sweet. I'm not doing that. It was amazing.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so yeah, Tim and I have known each other for many, many years.
Yeah, long time.
Interesting. I'm glad to hear about this beer bong with the super large funnel and the valve. I mean, this thing is epic from what I hear.
It was fucking epic. Many people have tried and failed to take that beer bong.
I remember we would do a beer, then we do like a shot of like tequila or whiskey or whatever, and then another beer on top of it.
Oh.
So it's just like, I mean, you don't taste it, you just
It's mixed up.
you just slam it.
I remember you were one of the most impressive beer bong champions.
Yeah.
He would just
Who
fucking,
are you?
He would just turn the valve, open his throat, and you just watch it.
You're kidding.
Down
You're one of
into his
those?
little
You're
tiny
one of those?
Yeah,
Oh,
I got pretty
man.
good at it.
Who
yeah.
are you?
Yeah.
He's your fiance.
That's yeah. This is the
guy
person you
married.
live with here.
This is not the way Tim drinks now. This is.
No, it's not the way any of us drink now.
No, that's
Now
a
we're
very
old,
elegant
we
sip
can't do that.
now, but
Now it hurts too bad in the morning.
yeah. Oh boy.
Because
So-
we ruined our livers when we were kids.
Props to you two. 8th grade, and now we're
Yeah.
30 years old. You know what I'm saying?
And there was
This is-
definitely some like a period of time where like we didn't talk to each other for 2-3 years, and then
Yeah.
counting. Now we're pretty darn close.
Yeah,
So-
I'd say.
absolutely.
What-
Yeah.
What's the connection now? Like just like catching up and stuff. Like
Well, we always had this shared past, which is always nice. But then like we've always had like common interests, especially like mainly with video games, technology.
Yep.
And as we get older, it's kind of. I mean, we still have those interests, but it's kind of evolved into more things than that too.
We're both adults and we both like to do shit, so Tim would be like, hey man, there's this fucking, what was the Beer Craft Festival?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
do you want to go check out the Beer Craft
Ooh.
Festival? I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to check out the Beer Craft Festival, or, other things like that you invited me to, or New Year's Eve parties, shit like that, and so it's just nice to,
Yeah.
please. Just nice to have people that you know to invite to those
And
sort
that's always
things.
kind of sometimes
is
some of my
nice.
favorite like friendships or connections you can have that like you can not talk for a while or like your lives go separate ways because that's what happens as you get older. And then you come back and you're like, oh, this is nice. Like I still feel a nice connection to you. It's always good to have those.
Absolutely.
So I have a funny story about our mutual friend Trevor
Trevor
Stewart.
Yes, please.
So Trevor Stewart's a good friend of mine, and
You see him a lot. You've seen him a lot more than me over the years.
Yeah. So like still
is he the band member? If I'm mistaken.
No.
Okay, I am mistaken.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So I mean he's fun to I have video games at my house and just invites people over to hang out, have a beer, either just talk or play some video games or whatever. And so like we were playing this one video game together that we're trying to beat and stuff. And so we're playing it, and he's like, I mean, so I'm military, I can't smoke weed, but I have no problem with someone else people smoke.
Did you ever smoke weed?
I never did.
No, I
I
didn't
like
think
once
so.
or twice.
Yeah, I
But
didn't think you were a smoker.
I don't smoke weed. Just I can't do it for now for my job. So, but I have no problem with people smoking right next to me doing whatever. So we're playing the video game and and he's like, hey, I gotta use the bathroom. I was like, cool, yeah. So he goes off, goes to the bathroom. He comes back and I'm like, I'm drinking beer, so I can, I gotta go to the bathroom too. So I go in the bathroom and
It just reeks.
recently, I'm like, the first thing I'm like, I don't care if you smoke weed. I don't care if you smoke weed in the bathroom. You can tell me though. I'm like, I'm gonna go smoke real quick. I'm like, all right,
Nobody's
cool,
gonna
yeah.
shame you.
I don't care if you smoke weed in my house.
I wonder if he was nervous, if he was just like, fuck, she was going to the bathroom right after I smoked weed.
I know, that's what I thought. And I
Everybody's
didn't
going in there.
I didn't say a thing about it, and he didn't say a thing about it to me, and I was just like, whatever.
Interesting. But
You
did you
didn't-
tell him later, like, hey, if you want to light up, you can do it right here?
No, I didn't bring it up at all, but I just thought it was funny. I was like, he just didn't even like ask you.
He was probably like, yes, I got away with it.
or something like that. I
can't
don't know.
believe
It was
he
just
didn't
kind of
smell
funny.
I definitely would not be so bold. If I would not smoke weed in someone's house without their permission, that would freak me out.
Yeah. So it was just like this funny thing. Is like, and I know he knows that I probably wouldn't care, but just like you said, you'd ask for permission real quick, and I would have been like, yeah, sure, whatever, go for it.
Right.
And just the fact that he didn't was just kind of this weird thing. It was like, all right. I mean, it doesn't bother me, but it's kind of funny.
Right?
Yeah.
Damn, man. Yeah,
Was this
I
in
wish...
the parents' house?
No, it was in my house.
Oh,
Just like
and
two
then-
weeks.
yeah,
This
this
is like
was
2
like 2
weeks
weeks
ago.
Oh,
Right,
are you
right.
kidding?
Yes, it was just recently.
Oh.
It was just funny. I was like, oh, all right, whatever.
That's one thing that I kind of regret moving so far north is I don't get to hang out with you or those guys as much as I want to. I mean, you're awesome because you're willing to drive up here, which I mean, it's not a short drive. It's like 40 minutes from your house, right? I mean, depending on traffic,
Yeah,
you might get here in like 30. But
What do you like, Far East Valley or
yeah, Central Valley.
State Line or?
Basically,
Oh,
where I'm
okay.
at. So
Okay, we can see Central Valley High School
right,
from our
you can
house.
see our high
Okay.
school.
I got you.
but it's a bit of a drive, but I mean, I don't mind taking it. So
Well, and you guys, I know you, but you probably have also friends kind of up in this area other than me, right? I know
Yeah,
you
so my
do.
best friend lives like 5 minutes away from here.
Right, up on Indian
Yeah.
Trail somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
Right on.
So, you two. How long have you two been together?
Almost 3 years. Best 3 years of your life.
Best.
Oh shit! Were you listening to the
That
stories
was-
we were telling? I'm just saying.
I know,
Yeah.
it's
beer bonging in high
He's
school.
serious.
yeah.
Those were the golden years, all right?
it's a
So
competition.
this Trevor guy didn't only smoke weed in your house, smoked weed in your
I was
house.
probably
Our
upstairs
house.
asleep.
Our house. Yeah.
Yeah, which is funny because I told her about it, and she's like, "Why didn't you just ask?"
I know,
Who
like,
cares?
You know-
nobody's gonna shame you or like.
I actually hung out with Tim. I want to say like after your second date, something like that. I met up with you at the Lantern when you were living there off Post.
Yep.
Is that what the
Perry.
Perry?
Yeah.
When you were living off Perry, I met up with you at the Lantern, and you were telling me about this cute girl that you had met online that you had just gone on like a date or two with. I can't remember, but it was shortly after you guys had started meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knew that it would turn into buying a house together?
I
and-
did not.
What was Tim excited? Was he like, "Oh my gosh, I went on this great date last
I don't remember.
Don't remember?
I don't.
We'll say yes.
Yeah.
We'll say
I'm gonna
yes.
go with yes,
Yes.
too. I'm gonna say he was very excited.
I mean, it definitely. Yeah, it wasn't. It definitely wasn't negative. Obviously,
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just thought that was when we were talking about how long Tim and I have known each other, and I remembered that.
Yeah. No, I certainly didn't think of the first date. I mean, I know there are people in the world who are like, oh, I knew the second. I knew something was different, but I wouldn't say it was like, oh, I knew. I was like, oh, something just feels different with you.
Yeah. I could chill with
But-
this guy again.
Let's talk about
Yeah.
that. Let's talk about that for a second. So I've known Tim for a really long time. I've known you for 3 years.
As long as I've known Tim, yeah.
Yeah. What was your life like before Tim?
Before Tim,
Yeah. Where did you grow up?
I mostly grew up in Spokane.
Okay.
Moved here when I was about 5 years old. When I finally moved off to go to school, I went to Seattle to go to UW. And I remember that day I was like, fuck yeah, I'm out of Spokane. This is my opportunity. Like, this is my chance. I'm finally ready. And then when I was done, when I graduated, I chose to move back to Spokane. I wanted to be back here, which shocked me more than anybody.
Now, was that for a particular reason?
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Not really. It was kind of a variety of reasons. Seattle, there were a lot of parts I loved, but Seattle just never felt like home to me. It just didn't work at the end of the day. And I wanted to be back here, closer to some friends and family. And what I always remember is you can always leave again. Just because you move somewhere doesn't mean you're stuck there. You can move again.
Mm-hmm.
So what was funny is when I met Tim was I was really at a point where I was like, I just want to have fun. I want to go on a lot of first dates, meet a lot of people, just go enjoy.
How many dates had you been on before Tim?
Like one. I met like one other person, and then I met Tim.
And
there
that
it
was
So my favorite description for you for Seattle was she will say she was able to meet a lot of great guys, and dating life was pretty good. Would you say that?
Yeah, my dating life was pretty good there.
Yeah, but it was hard to make friends there.
Yeah, I couldn't have like
Why?
I didn't have a,
Yeah.
feel like I had a real social connection there. And ironically, a lot of the guys I did meet and date were from Spokane,
Interesting.
which was weird. I did not search them out. There's this concept in Seattle called the Seattle Freeze, which is this idea that in Seattle, if you're not from there, you're not accepted. And it's hard to integrate. People will be nice to you, they'll be friendly, like, oh, hey, I'll sit next to you in class, I'll chat, whatever. But from there, that's it.
How,
And I feel
how
like
do
I
they know?
so experienced
How do they
that.
know you're not from Seattle?
Well, I mean, that does come up. I mean, I had people be like, oh my god, you're from Spokane?
So like,
Ugh.
so wait, so
Like,
they're like
really?
super friendly,
Yes.
and then as soon as you tell them you're from Spokane, they're like, oh.
I had people be like,
You're
well,
one of those.
Yeah,
Isn't
yeah.
Spokane smaller than Bellingham? And I was like, no, Spokane's the second or third largest city in the state, depending on the year.
Depending.
A city
Right.
in the state.
Like
honestly. It was I was never like Spokane's biggest fan, but all of a sudden I had to be like Spokane's cheerleader in Seattle.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was really hard to make.
Like, wait a minute,
friends.
Spokane
That's
is
strange.
awesome.
And I almost can't describe why. And I'd have like every so often somebody like, oh sure, let's go get a drink, and then like that was it. It was just, and I was like, maybe it's me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's this
Smell?
idea
What's
that if you can Google, it's called the Seattle Freeze. That people who move there often have a hard time truly integrating their lives into Seattle.
I felt for a long time that it's, even in Spokane, I've lived in Spokane all my life. I take it back, I lived in Coeur d'Alene for a couple of years.
Close enough.
I was there.
It's the
Yeah,
same.
close
Like it's the
enough.
same thing.
I've felt for a long time that it's really hard to connect with people and make new friends since high school. There are some outliers, like my good friend Matthew here, who I met living in Coeur d'Alene. But I don't know. I kind of blame social networking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now the cliques that you were in from high school travel with you
Yep.
after high school
Yeah.
because those are the people you're interacting with and hanging out with on Facebook or before Facebook was it MySpace or Instagram. You know what I mean? So I think I've thought even today, even in Spokane, it's been hard to meet new people.
Well, there's even this idea like when you date that now in some ways it's harder because we realize how big our world is. So, think like 50 years ago, even less than that, your community was really small. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have a way to see all these other options, all these other people. You had what was in front of you. And now you can go, oh, well, I'm just going to keep swiping. Look at this. It never ends. So, I've got you and you're really good. You're like 90% what I want. But I
Maybe
can
there's
keep
a better
swiping.
option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they've actually done like research on that now people are going, but I have so much more. There's so many more out there.
Oh.
It's
and
the
then
FOMO.
and
It's
yeah.
the fear of missing out.
Ooh, that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Because, why stay with this one person when, what if? Look, I can go 1,000 more times moving my finger.
But those quirks of that person end up being things that you love, like the crooked teeth or the smile or something like that. Who knows? Who knows what it is?
Those
I think
those
that's
friends. Those friends that you've had for a long time that I personally I call family. Tim is a part of my family. You're a part of my family. Neil, my roommate, who I've known for a very, very long time, part of my family. There are people in my family that they have quirks that might annoy me from times to times, but they're part of my family and I know them, you know what I mean? And so those things don't bother me. Whereas when I meet new people and I see those quirks, I'm like, that guy's weird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I have I remember thinking about that your family can be whoever you want it to be. I still remember I was a sociology major in my marriage and family class. The first day of class, it was make a list of everybody who's in your family. And I put like my mom, my dad, my brother, and then I put my best friend and her husband, and a few people who were not blood related to me. And that was it. And I so strongly believe your friends can be your family. Your family is whoever you choose it to be. It does not have to be
I felt that way
the
for
people you
a very long time.
share a gene pool with.
To me, it's the people that I can call up, even if we haven't talked in several years, and be like, hey man, what's going on? Or, hey man, I know we haven't talked in a while, but I could use some help right now. If you got some time, would really appreciate it. And those people that I believe would help me in those situations or want to talk and reconnect, you know what I mean? Those people are the people I consider my family.
Yep.
I didn't know my grandfather passed away at 93 a few years
Wow.
back. Old age, but I didn't know he was my mom's stepfather
Oh.
until he passed away.
Yeah.
Wow.
I lived my whole life, 29 years.
You're kidding me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He was just grandpa.
He was just grandpa. Whole time. Dad. No blood relation, nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
See, this is why I'm going into what I'm going into because I love people's lives. I am fascinated by other people. I love hearing about people's lives.
That's awesome.
Whether it's their secrets or whatever. I'm like, yes.
Well, you should listen to our podcast.
I love podcasts.
You should listen to our podcast all the time. Because we definitely have talked about some very personal things, for sure.
The Grandma Special is a fantastic
God damn it.
episode.
Why do you gotta
I had
bring
to
that one
it
up?
I had to bring it up.
Don't-
All right,
I
that's
think
all I need to
start-
say.
in my mind, that is going in so many different places.
Yes.
Just don't start there, is all I'm saying. Put the Grandma Special on a pedestal and work up to it.
Okay.
But this has kind of molded its way into something else.
Yeah.
This is definitely a conversation that everyone can relate to.
Yeah.
At first, we were just kind of spontaneous, going in all different, didn't know what the heck it was. So it developed into what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 So I wouldn't start with the first episode by any means. That's all I'm saying.
You know what's funny that you bring that up? We talk about Mindy, who I work with. Her husband is the other Matt that I work out with and work with.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and so
Did we meet them at the beer festival?
you did.
Yes. Okay. I was
Hi,
like,
guys.
that's who it is. All right.
That's Mindy and Matt. So the other Matt, let me back up. Mindy has been listening to our podcast almost religiously every week, which is amazing. Again, thank
Shout
you,
out
Mindy.
again.
Yeah, you're my favorite podcast listener. Matt told me this morning when we were at the gym that he has started to catch up, and starting to catch up on
That's how the name plays in.
exactly on some of the podcasts. So I was like, I was super happy. I was like, that's fucking awesome. I'm super glad that that you started to do that. And now, go ahead.
And then he got to the grandma special.
He has yet, as far as I know, he has yet to get to the grandma special.
Okay. You'll know a lot more about this man.
I'm desperate to know about the grandma special.
Oh no!
And again, my brain is going in a variety of locations, and a lot of them are questionable.
It's not what you think. It's whatever you think it might be. It's not what you think.
True.
I'm gonna be so excited if it's exactly what I think, though.
What do you
and
think
we'll have
it
you
is?
back on.
No. Now I want to know.
No, I'm gonna wait.
Okay.
No.
Nope,
Tell me. What do you
wait.
think it is?
Well, obviously, first of all, I'm thinking like, oh, it's funny and sexual, but I'm sure it's not. That's my immediate 13-year-old boy brain going. Yes.
Alex's eyebrows raise, his eyes shift, and he takes a drink. What does that tell you?
Again, he could be pulling a Tim.
Oh,
His face is telling me other things.
Alex is another spot we have.
2 spies.
Oh God. Yeah.
I'm observant. Right, Tim?
Cool.
As he raises the pinky. Oh boy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She.
Nothing gets past me.
Well,
Give or take.
But I mean,
Thanks,
you're being trained, so you know.
Yeah, right.
I'm only a month in. I have no training. I just have a lot of fear.
Oh, so this engagement was recent. A month ago, is that right? Or?
Oh, graduate school was a month
graduate
ago.
school.
That's the fear.
Oh,
But the
Gotcha.
engagement
The engagement
also
is recent. That was
yeah.
just in August.
Yeah. That's pretty neat.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yep. So when we are going through like the whole wedding planning process and figuring all that out, which is quite interesting,
Mm-hmm.
to say the least.
How's
Well,
that
you got
going?
through buying the house
Is
together.
it the traditional where
Let
you
me
know
tell
the
you.
man's just like I let her do whatever she wants and I just agree to everything, or are you actually having
he
a
likes
say?
to say that sometimes.
No,
It's not though.
I would not say that at all. I would not say that at all. It's more of a
It's a joint effort.
There
much
have been
more
a few
joint
times
effort,
where you're
yeah.
like, well, you know better, you can choose, and then you're like,
Yeah.
I have an opinion.
well, yeah. There are some things that I'm like I don't know. This is
But
your
actually, I
department.
like it better that he wants to be involved.
And then there's things where I'm like, all right, well, I think I have an opinion on this, but there are things that I'm like, I don't know. This is your department. You take care of it.
Have you decided on and please don't think that I would be offended if I'm not, or even in the running. Have you decided on a best man?
I haven't. So there's probably not going to be a best man.
Whoa.
We
Yeah.
might be going a little bit unique here.
Oh.
We're
yeah.
thinking about going real intimate
Okay.
and keeping it really small.
Like clothes off, intimate, like completely naked, everybody.
Well, eventually, at some point, hell yes.
Would a naked wedding be hilarious? Yes.
Oh man. At least
All I'm
titty
gonna wear is a
tassels.
veil. All I'm
Come on.
gonna wear is a veil now.
Titty tassels.
CD
Come on.
tassels at least.
I'll wear a sock. You can wear titty tassels.
One sock?
One sock. Yeah,
Well,
a
yeah.
sock.
Oh,
One
okay.
sock
Oh, I see.
the groin.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We have some of those details we haven't worked out, but I think we're
Yeah.
gonna go. I don't think we're gonna have the classic traditional.
No. It's,
The Matt and Mindy, they did something like that. They did a very small, just family, no extra people wedding. So
Well, we're kind of thinking
Yeah,
family, and then
we'll invite.
there will be extra
You
people.
will be invited, but
You're on the
it,
list.
it's also
Thank you.
there will be very low expectations of people to come because it's probably gonna be on the
in the
West-
Olympic National
yeah.
Park is
yeah,
kind
it's
of
probably not gonna be here in Spokane. So
Okay.
I understand like it's probably also gonna be like on a kind of more of a midweek. So I'm not expecting people to show up because you gotta work, you gotta do your thing.
Yeah.
So it's
I gotta be there.
low expectations for people to
attend.
come. So
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That
You
sounds
kidding me?
sad,
Tim's
but
getting married. I have to fucking be there.
yeah,
I think we just realized it's more important to us to do something intimate that's really about us and enjoying that celebration, and less about like this big party, this big
Yeah.
thing that kind of feels like it's for other people.
yeah, and that party would be great. Party would be fun.
Yeah.
But then, like,
Yeah, somebody
but
wants to throw some party when we get
what are
back.
people gonna
Whoa,
think? They're
but
just
we
gonna
have
be
to have a
appreciated.
bachelor
Yeah.
party.
Oh yeah, you can.
Yeah.
If you don't
Oh,
have
yeah.
if you don't have a best man, I volunteer to at least facilitate the bachelor.
You
party.
volunteer as tribute.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
Oh,
boy.
my best friend
'cause
has like said the
traditionally-
exact same thing.
Traditionally, the best man has to figure out the bachelor
Sure.
party. But if you're not going to have one, I will definitely.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll probably get together with like Trevor and Lee and be like, "Yo, guys, we need to fucking get this bachelor party shit going
Trevor
on."
will be in the bathroom
What do
smoking
we-
pot the whole time.
Oh, jeez.
Be like, "What are we gonna do?" And it's gonna be fucking rad. Fucking Ryan's bachelor party. My buddy Ryan that just got
We've
married.
discussed this on the cast before.
It's one of the episodes. It's called The Wedding. You should definitely listen to it. It was fun as hell.
very interesting. We got in depth into everything.
All of it.
Not saying that that's what's going to happen at Tim's bachelor party.
No.
So
You
don't
know,
use that as a template by any means.
There's some things to
Yes, there's
experience
yeah,
that
there's
I'm not
definitely
worried about. It is what it is.
been very.
Whoa.
We don't need to pause it. We don't need to.
Whoa.
All right, we can pause it.
We're going to pause it for a second.
All right.
Everybody a little break.
I'm sorry.
Matt has to relieve himself, so we're going to take a little pause.
You're false about
For
the
your
wine beer
This is for
ratio.
your advertisers.
Well, no one else has to pee right
So
now.
word from our
Really?
sponsors.
Yeah,
No one
we're your
else?
sponsors.
Yeah, word from our sponsors that we don't have. For all of you 6 people listening.
I'll get back before you're done with this segment.
I'd like to thank Audible for sponsoring this podcast. If you go to audible.com/catchup, you can get a free audiobook. Actually, it's just, that's how Audible works. Just you go to audible.com and you get a free audiobook. There's no, the promo codes that like podcasts have, it's bullshit because you just go to audible.com and
What
you
are
sign up and you get a free.
What are all the other podcast advertisers? Casper mattress.
Casper, yeah.
The Quiver toothbrush, I think, is the one I hear.
Yep.
Dollar Shave Club.
Dollar
Dollar
Shave
Shave
Club.
What is it? The Blue Apron?
Blue Apron. The online counseling service that I can't think of what it's called now.
Haven't heard
I
that
have
one.
not heard that.
Oh,
one.
I've heard that one plenty of
Why?
times.
Do you listen to a lot of psychology therapy?
No.
Oh, interesting.
But probably the podcast you listen to.
Yeah, there's
All right.
They've got
it
the.
would make sense. We're not gonna name them because we're not gonna advertise for them.
You know, at some point, I would, Matt and I, we started this.
Now it's gonna bother me that I can't think of the counseling about.
Just keep thinking of it. Matt and I, we started this, with no expectations, right? We just wanted to do something.
Squarespace.
Oh, definitely Squarespace. Do something that was, fun, productive. That, hey, if it goes somewhere, that would be amazing. If it doesn't, it's still fun. This is actually our 16th episode, so that means 16 weeks. Not in a row. We've had to skip a couple, but
1, I think.
2. Well, I was in 3. 2. I was in Canada. You had a pool tournament,
Oh, that's right. That's
Your
right.
car.
That's right.
and then we skipped a Friday for the car, but we had it the following Saturday.
Ah, the car.
okay.
Remember? Because I was like, "Are you free that Saturday?" And you were like, "I don't think so."
Well, it's convenient that you had to get that car because now we get 2 special guests, not 1 but 2.
2 for the price of 1.
2 for the price of 1. Damn right.
Well, I'm glad you didn't pause it.
No.
Very,
We didn't
very
need to.
nice.
We mentioned
We
all
do.
of the advertisers,
Right.
sponsors.
Of like other podcasts, if you listen to podcasts a lot, you hear kind of the same advertisers all the time.
When's the fitness center gonna sponsor our?
Exactly.
Oh,
you need to get
them
fitness,
into it.
Fitness. You tell them that they just have to. We'll mention them for pennies. We'll mention them for
A bottle of wine. They'll supply the wine.
Supply the wine.
there. Yeah.
Bottle-
Super
bottle
cheap,
Supply the
super
wine. Hey, this
easy.
is brought to you. Oh, I will mention that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that, and tell them that we've got at least 200 listeners.
And soon we'll be sponsored by Heavenly Hair.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, that's a great idea.
We should absolutely do that.
Yeah.
In fact, you
100%.
talk to Brittany and tell her.
Is Heavenly Hair a hair salon?
Heavenly Hair is going to be a hair salon.
I need a new hairstylist. Great.
Do you really?
Awesome.
Legit.
Perfect. No, but I was going to say, tell Brittany, well, we should totally mention Heavenly Hair, and then if they come in and say that they heard us on the podcast, they get like $5 off or some shit like that. You know what I mean?
We'll go with 2, but yeah.
$2. Sorry, I forget how much haircuts are. $2 off.
They're
if
already
they-
cheap as is.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
Very
and so-
affordable.
And so that way they'll know that they're listening to the podcast and they'll get a great haircut. And
Boom. Heard it here first.
and we'll exactly.
Alex.
I'm super excited. Can we back up for a second? Can you please tell everybody, for those of you who are listening for the first time, for those of you who have listened before, let's reiterate. Let's talk about for a second what you and your wife are starting and where you are at on that.
Well, my wife has a passion for hair. She has worked for hair for over a decade now, she's a licensed cosmetologist, and she was going to school to be an accountant. And I recently got back in May from visiting one of my inspirations in this life, Caesar Milan, the dog whisperer. Absolutely.
Hold on.
You may not have known this, but he is a behavioral dog specialist.
You may not have known this. I'm a crazy dog lady.
I heard you mention dogs earlier. I wasn't going to mention anything, but...
Oh, I wish you would have. This whole podcast would have been about me talking about dogs.
Well, yeah.
Okay, we'll get back there.
Well, we can definitely get back there.
Caesar Milan.
And yes, I spent the whole month of May with
That's
the guy,
awesome.
and I came back with this absolutely just burning desire to start doing my own thing with dogs. So I did that, and I started working with dogs, and Brittany was like, golly, I love the passion that you have for what you're doing. You know, I really like what I'm doing, but I'm working for Supercuts right now. It's kind of a chop shop. And I don't like the way these corporations run their business. You know, they just want speed. They don't want to get involved with the customer as much. They don't, you know, and a lot
Full
of it's...
disclosure, I get my haircut at Great Clips.
So does.
That's cool. That's cool.
I do not.
Right.
But anyway, so she had this kind of ripple effect occurred, and she was like, holy crap, you know, I just feel like I need to do this for a living. You know, they call it therapy.
Yeah.
Therapy.
I
So-
100% believe in it.
Been So we discussed it, and we thought it was definitely in the budget to open up our own hair salon. So we finally leased a building out on
that's awesome.
Francis in Nevada, and it should be open mid-November, for sure December 1st.
I'm not even kidding. I am looking for somebody new to do my hair. I will happily go there.
We will throw coupons your way. Absolutely.
I will, as soon as it opens, I will stop going to Great Clips. And I will go to, what's it called again?
Heavenly Hair.
Heavenly Hair.
Yes.
Heavenly Hair. And
Heavenly Hair.
And I have said that
Nevada
I will
and Francis.
only have my hair cut by Brittany, his wife.
That is awesome. Okay, let's talk about dogs.
And then I have to convince her to do the shave, because she won't. She has said
the single
On your
razor.
face?
we talked last week. She said she's not comfortable doing the straight razor.
That would make me nervous too.
on the neck specifically. But
Tim, have you had a straight razor?
I have not.
I have not either.
my roommate. No, I have not. My roommate Neil has had the straight razor shave. He's been to barbershops and done the whole deal. Does Trevor do it? He did do it, but did he do this? Yeah.
Puberty.
Happening all over again. When you hit 30, you go through puberty again, everybody.
Turns out, yeah.
Yeah. Did he have experience with that when he was
I think he did, yeah.
Maybe I should call up Trevor and be like, yo, bro, I need a shave.
You need to...
I'm super lazy.
Maybe we can get
I don't
Brittany
want
some training
do it
with
myself.
Trevor or something.
Well,
I
Trevor's
would love
probably
her
out
to
of
do it.
practice, to be honest.
Well, right, yeah. But still, I would love for her to do that so that I can go in for a shave and a haircut and a
Give the
shampoo
business
or
the
whatever.
time to evolve. Give a little time to build your base and then move into new territory.
But yeah, let's talk about real quick about your business again.
Yeah, I want to know how you went and spent time with Caesar Milan.
I applied for an internship, and you had to give a very descriptive bio on your training experience and everything. I've also done I've done internships with Guide Dogs for the Blind in Boring, Oregon. This is the name of the town or the city or whatever, but that's where the Guide Dogs for the Blind is located. Been training for 14 years, and I was like, holy crap! I can't believe this guy takes internships.
He was a dog trainer when I met him.
Yes. Started with my personal dog. And
Whose name is?
Dixon. He's no longer here. But, man, oh man, love that guy.
Neither is this dog.
Can I side story that for a second? Can I side story that with Dixon for a second?
That's how crazy I am.
Mm-hmm. Oh, trust me, I get it.
Real quick, just side story with Dixon. When I first met Matt, Dixon was still with us, and he was an amazing dog. He was older when I met you. How old was he? Do you remember?
I think it was 9 when you met him.
Yeah, so he had kind of the white muzzle going on. He was getting his older age, but amazing dog. Had been trained very, very well. I remember me and this guy, and I feel you can feel bad for Dixon because it is partially my fault, but. Me and Matt.
Do I remember this?
What did you do to Dixon?
We've talked about this before.
Did we drink that much?
We did, and we've talked about this before.
We did. Okay.
So me and Matt, this is back in Coeur d'Alene. Have you guys ever been to the Corner Bar in Coeur d'Alene?
I don't think so.
It is as far as I've been in the bars in Coeur d'Alene, it's the diviest bar in Coeur d'Alene, located on 4th. Is it on 4th?
No, we didn't take Dixon there.
No. The story
so
starts
much
here.
makes sense about Dixon's
The story
troubles of
starts
adulthood.
here. Matt and I, this happened on a couple of occasions. Matt and I went to the corner bar, got drunk as shit, and we took a taxi back to his apartment where Dixon was waiting. And I would just be like, he'd be like, yeah, man, I've trained Dixon for years, and he is the best dog. He would never do anything that I had not trained him to do. And I would be like, bullshit. This is me drunk. Bullshit. I can get Dixon to come to me. I will call him, and he'll come. And I'd be like, no, he will not. No, he will not. Yes, he will. All right, try. And I'd be like, Dixon, come on, Dixon. And he'd fucking stand up out of his bed, and he'd look at me, and Matt would be like, hey. And Dixon would just be like, looking at Matt, looking at me, looking at Matt. And I'd be like, come on, Dixon, come here, come on. And Matt would be like, hey. And Dixon would just be like, come on, let me go. But he'd sucking,
He knew you were the boss.
but he would fucking stay there. And at any point, he was...
And he was using all sorts of excitement.
Yeah.
Eye contact, baby voices,
Everything.
clapping.
Absolutely. But he was trained well. And he would just fucking stand there.
And he was old.
Sit there on his bed. Yeah, he may have been a little lazy also.
He's like,
You can't do that with Pete.
you don't have a treat, whatever.
Sorry, I had the side story, Dixon, just to also illuminate how much of a good dog trainer you
I
are.
had a lot more time before I was married, and Dixon and I thought about this earlier. Dixon and I would spend so much time in the morning together, 3 hours every morning walking,
No.
every single day. Yeah, good guy, for sure.
Well, Tim and I have 2 dogs. We have Thane and Lux. And Thane was, I always say, one of the reasons I was interested in Tim, because I was like, oh, he's got a dog. Oh, that is a big fucking dog.
That's a
I
big-
want to meet him.
Thane is a monster.
Thane's
Big
massive.
dog.
Let me guess. Great Dane?
Nope.
Neapolitan Mastiff?
No. Probably won't guess it because
He's a
we
mix.
say he's a big dog, and he is a big dog, but the breed is not necessarily considered to be big.
Boxer?
German Shepherd.
Shepherd.
He's half German Shepherd, half...
Irish.
Something.
Leon Berger.
We
probably.
think Leon... He was a rescue from a shelter when he was a puppy and looked like 100% German Shepherd. As he got
As far as they could tell,
Yeah.
he was about,
So Tim rescued him as a puppy. I mean, I only met him 3 years ago, but Thane, when I first met him, was 140 pounds. And now he's about 120. He got a mom. He lost some weight.
He was also not exercising as much.
Yeah,
when
he
we
had
met,
a
but,
torn doggy ACL.
Yeah,
So Thane's a big boy.
he's a big dog.
Yeah. It's like
120 is huge.
when he's nervous, he wants to stand between your legs. So when I take him to the vet, he gets nervous and he stands between my legs. I barely touch the ground.
You're basically
I'm like
riding
riding
the dog.
him.
Yeah.
I'm like, Thane, I'm gonna hurt you.
Oh, jeez.
And then we have Lux, who we adopted a little over a year ago.
Who is
she's-
Who is a...
She's a little pit bull mutt.
Ah,
She's
nice.
She's my little bully breed.
Yeah.
I love her tremendously.
And she is incredibly well behaved.
Yeah,
For,
this is like I used to volunteer at shelters in both Seattle and Spokane, and so I'm a huge advocate for rescuing. And this was like the ideal dream. We rescued her from scraps. She was a shelter dog. She came to us potty trained. She knows how to ride in the car. She knew all of her tricks and commands. She sat and waited for her food. I could touch her face while she ate. She didn't care. For the longest time, she sat and
For a bully
waited
breed, that's big.
until Thane started eating his food. Then she'd eat.
Yeah.
I mean, she knew what the kennel was. Like, she was...
So
trained.
But she was
we're dealing with the
stray.
back of the pack dog
But-
right here.
Well,
No,
but
she
she
is
is...
pretty... She's dominant. She is the alpha.
She
Alpha.
well that and she is a little protective or
Yeah.
wary.
Yeah.
So when I met her for the first time, she was not happy with me being in the room. It was
She is very wary of new people. Once she meets you a couple of times, then she is just butter. But before that, she is very protective and like, I don't know you. I don't know if you're okay. But once she gets used to you, then she's just like,
Golden.
hi, love me, scratch my belly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they're our babies. And I love them.
and
Obsessively.
Thane is the opposite. It's like
Yeah.
anybody walks in the room and he's just like, fucking touch me
Yeah.
all the time.
If you want to break into our house and murder us or steal our stuff, like, Thane will be like, that's fine, you scratched my butt for 2 seconds. Great, we're friends
He'll
now.
just be happy you're there. Lux will be the one who's like,
Yeah.
who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
And then she's like
Wait
40
a
pounds. So we
minute.
have just 40 pound and then 120. Yeah. So, but I've got a very special place in my heart for the bully breeds. My mom has one. My brother has one. I'm a pretty big advocate for them. They're I love them.
We actually go through scraps, and the dogs that have trouble getting adopted, we take in. We just took in German Shepherd. Alex had the opportunity to meet Diesel.
Oh, I know Diesel. We've seen Diesel.
You have?
Yeah, he's been in the shelter a long time, hasn't he?
He is now with a family that is very active. 8 miles a day.
Wow.
I remember seeing Diesel, a German Shepherd, in there a long time ago.
I miss volunteering at the shelters. I really loved doing that and working with the dogs. And
can I tell that story? Because that was a good story.
You're talking about the treat story?
I'm talking about the training session that we had with Diesel the first time I came over to your place.
Absolutely. Yes.
This is one of my favorite stories. So I don't remember if it was after a cast or before we started doing I think it was before.
It was before we started even podcasting.
This was the day that me and Matt reconnected. So Matt and I worked together at Petco, met each other, we became friends. Matt and Brittany moved to Kentucky so that Brittany could finish school, right? That was the original reason for moving there. Mm-hmm. And he came back. I got a text message from you late at night one night. Well, after I had got this place. I remember I was in my bedroom and you texted me and he was just like, yeah, man. I was, doing the thing. And going to bed. Jeez.
AKA rubbing one out. Right, gotcha.
Observant.
Who the fuck?
Yeah.
Matt. Oh, great.
You're blocking my screen. Gosh.
Not you, porno. Come on.
Just text message comes down. Fuck. Anyway.
Sorry.
Anyway, we actually didn't. He told me he was back in town, but we, we're busy, with our lives and shit. We actually didn't get together until about a year later. And we went and played pool at the Black Diamond. And then you invited me over to your house for some more drinks. Mm-hmm. And we went over there, we hung out. And one of the things he says to me, we walks in, he's like, okay, so we've got a couple of dogs. This is a testament to this man's, how good he is with dogs and their behaviors and just how committed he is to the training. He says, okay, so I got a couple of dogs. What I want you to do when you walk in, don't just ignore them. Don't look at them. No eye contact. Don't touch them. If they come up to you, just ignore them completely. And I said, okay, I can do that. And so I do that, and we hang out, and we drink for a little while, and Diesel comes up to me a couple of times, and he kind of sniffs me, but I just ignore him. He tries to a couple of times he tries to, my hand's down here, down on my side, and he tries to get his kind of nose under my hand to get me to pet him, and I just nope, I just kind of go limp, And later, after we had some drinks, and Matt says, okay, do you mind working with Diesel a little bit? I said, no problem. Diesel was an amazing dog, a lot of energy, front of the pack dog, right?
He was front of the pack dog, high level energy.
He
was for sure the leader, for sure.
So part of that, I don't know if that's just front of the pack dogs, but definitely with Diesel, he's very protective of his things. So at one point, but this is a testament to his training, right? So at one point, Matt brings out this Kong toy. You know what a Kong toy is, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Brings out this Kong toy and he says, this is Diesel's toy. This is his toy. And he has Diesel sit in front of him and he holds out the Kong. Mm-hmm. And Diesel kind of sniffs it and he looks like he wants to take it, but he doesn't, right? Because Matt hasn't given him permission yet. Then Matt gives him permission and Diesel takes the toy. Diesel takes the toy, he goes back to his little bed and he lays down. Then Matt says to me, okay, I want you to go take the toy from Diesel. And I'm like, this is a German Shepherd, purebred.
Oh, yeah. He was 95 pounds.
Yeah, 95 pounds.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
that's still pretty big for a German Shepherd. Yeah.
Front of the pack dog, he says, go take his toy. And I'm like, okay, all right, let's fucking do this. So it helped that I was very intoxicated.
AKA, he had the right energy to work with. He was confident, and he wasn't second-guessing himself. Because if he would have entered,
scared, yeah.
He was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. So I go over, And, Matt's like, it helps if you turn away. So I was not facing him when I went down for the toy. I was kind of like, facing the wall. And I just kind of like
Approaching from the side.
Came down from the side. And I went down to grab the toy. And Diesel, I shit you not, on my fucking arm. But the bites are not serious. It's not pressure. He's not breaking the skin. It's more like a scare tactic. Hey, this is my fucking toy.
I like to call it an empty threat.
Like he was kind of nibbling almost like.
Empty threat. It was aggressive. It was
deliberate?
Deliberate. It was, hey, what the fuck are you doing? Mm-hmm. This is my fucking toy. But I didn't back away. He latched on, and I just had my hand on the toy, and I just looked away. And then I fucking brought my arm out.
With the toy.
With the toy.
And that's how he was used to controlling the situation, is baring teeth.
Yeah.
And grabbing on. So.
Because that's all a dog has.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, he's used to controlling the situation like that. So he knows the reaction he can get out of humans from this reaction. So.
We did that a couple more times, and probably one, maybe two more times he got mad and latched on. But after that, I could grab the toy. No problem. Not only that, but after that, I remember we went outside to smoke, and Diesel actually just came up. I think you had said that this isn't related. I feel like it's related because of that experience. He just came up and sat down in front of me and wanted me to pet him, and then we were best friends. And Matt had given me permission at that point to interact with him and pet him. And it was a really great experience. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the permission thing is not that I'm no, don't touch him. It's sometimes dogs aren't ready to be touched.
And they have to learn boundaries too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because sometimes there's dogs, kind of a little bit like Thane,
Okay.
but who go insane with excitement. It's pure goodness when they see people, but it's too much.
It's too much.
It's overwhelming.
That is definitely Thane.
That's Thane.
I'll be gone for a deployment, come home, and he's like, oh, hi, I'm happy to see you.
Yeah, when he sees us, if we've been gone, he's like, oh, hey guys, what's up?
I'll be gone for 2 months, and he's like, oh, you're here. I'm happy to see you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Alex, or you, or anybody, other than us, comes over. He
loses his mind.
Shit.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. Just
Holy
crap.
I always think when you have a really big dog, it's the same behaviors that a really small dog can have, but he's a really big dog.
Mm-hmm.
So it's bigger.
You hear it, you feel it.
Exactly.
He wants you to pet his butt, so he pushes his leans his butt up against you, and it's 120 pounds, and it's pushing you over.
With Thane, he's got a massive mouth. He's a big dog. So when he goes for treats, he's like a shark. He just clamps, so you have to be really cautious of easy, and you pull the treat away, and you really have to ease him into it.
Mm-hmm.
And, I have never once ever been scared of Thane. Because he's a gigantic baby. He is a big baby. But he's got a big mouth. And there's things he hates, like human feet. He's got a thing about feet. He hates.
So if you if you have naked feet, no sock,
If
and
you try to touch him with your feet, he gets so upset.
What was that?
But
And,
I have always,
just
because I've never
your
been
feet.
scared of him, if he acts out with my feet or whatever, I know he's never going to bite me. I am very confident with him, and that's the thing with him I realized. So it's the first few times Tim went away on deployment, that dog tested me. Because he was like, oh, you're not in charge. You are not the boss. You are not my mom.
My favorite story about
Yeah.
this was the first time at my old house that she was left. I had to go to work, and she was left in the house with Thane. I was like, normally I just, we put him outside, and he has his dog house, and he's kind of more of an
back in
outdoor
the
dog.
old house.
Yeah. And so this time I was like, oh, you should go put him out when you leave. I'll just leave him inside the house until then. So I, hop in my car and I leave. And he literally, according to Sophia, counts.
He did a 10, 9, 8, watched him drive away. Okay, he's gone. Ran to the kitchen trash can.
Wow.
He stopped, looked at me, you're not a problem, and continued.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Over time that changed. But it was a process getting him to learn that I was the boss too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And again, it was never I was scared of him. He was just
Who are you?
Yeah, who are you? And now he respects me.
So, Matt, we've kind of talked about Thane a little bit, and if you guys are open to it, I'd love to hear, just from what we've talked about, your kind of assessment of kind of what kind of dog Thane is, maybe what kind of different.
I'll show you pictures of them if it helps. I'm a crazy
What kind
dog
of
mom.
what kind of different things that they can do to curb some of that behavior.
Now, mind you, we realize that this is your job profession, so don't offer anything that you would want money for.
No.
I don't want to be one of those people who's like, oh no, I'm an artist, and I want to take advantage of you. But that's your livelihood, so that's something that you should charge people for. It's not like you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
I would put it this way. Our biggest issue is when people come over for both the dogs. Is that they both lose their minds in different ways.
I'll give a
That's
tidbit
the
of
biggest.
information.
Yeah.
Humans greet each other. Hi, Tim. How are you?
Ooh.
So we touch, eye contact, and talk, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we touch, eye contact, and talk. Dogs operate nose, eyes, ears. So the way they greet each other, smelling from a distance.
Yeah.
And if they get into another dog's personal space, consequence, aka bite.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So a lot of humans use the same human psychology on dogs. So they come into a house, open up the door. Oh, you're so cute!
Yes.
So they want to touch, they want to give eye contact, and they feed energy into it.
Yep.
So
This is why I often wonder. We sometimes put up a baby gate. We have a hallway that works that the dogs sit behind the baby gate while everybody can come in. They see them, they can smell them, they know they're there, but there's a barricade so they can't run to everybody.
Sometimes that block will feed into the opposite behavior that you want. So it's more of blocking their mind into getting what they want opposed to getting corrected for a behavior that you disagree with.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's more of feeding into something that is the exact opposite of what you are intending to do. By blocking them off, it's more of feeding, sniffing from afar and then wanting to get closer into the intimate space. You see, because that's what they're used to doing.
Yeah.
No boundaries, right? Yeah.
Interesting.
So that is oftentimes misinterpreted from the dog, and that's how you get a lot of excitement. Oh, hey, how are you?
Yeah.
Boom! Immediate excitement. So
Yep.
what I like to do, especially with new dogs or dogs that I have from the pound or dogs that I'm rehab, when people come over, I'm like, what I did to Alex, okay, for the first 5 minutes, no touch,
Yeah.
no talk, no eye contact. It's what Caesar preaches, right? It's
Yep.
what he says every day to new people that come in. So no touch, no talk, no eye contact. That gives the dog the opportunity to not adapt to a certain excitement or nervousness or anxiety, because when you that is affection, and when you give affection, you're feeding into the state of mind the dog is in. Now let me give a good example. So there was a very fearful dog that came into Paradise Pet Resort. No plug intended here. That's who I'm affiliated with. I'm their trainer for the Paradise Pet Resort in Spokane Valley. But they bring dogs in to do daycare. And this dog was tail tucked, head down, ears folded back, no engagement of nose, so there's tension. Plus, they're when they're curved over, it's like a muscle flexing. You see what I'm saying? Like they're just tense. And everyone was feeding this dog eye contact, wanting to touch it, saying, "Oh, it's okay."
Yeah.
That's what humans do to
Comfort.
other humans for comfort. Exactly. But that psychology doesn't work on dogs. So the only person this dog felt safe around was the only person who wasn't giving it any affection or eye contact, because it was the only person who could allow this dog to get over the anxiety that it had. So I wasn't doing anything, and this dog right behind me, because I was the only one that was providing the right energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great advice to anyone who has a dog that has excitement or anxiety or aggression issues at the door, because we greet dogs with excitement and we want to touch and coddle.
We get excited.
So we get excited. And sometimes they're like, "I'm not ready for this. I'm not,"
Yeah.
and they'll give signs. "I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for this." You're getting closer. Boom! There's the attack. And they're like, "Damn, this dog is aggressive." No, the dog's not aggressive. You are just approaching with the wrong energy. You know, this dog's not ready for you yet.
And I think even
So-
just people forget dogs do have I'm going to say personalities too.
Mm-hmm.
And especially, you know, if you get a rescue, there's all these people who go, oh, well, you never know what you get when you're getting a rescue. Well, you never know what you're getting when you get a puppy either.
Mm-hmm.
That puppy can still grow up and have its own issues. The same as a rescue dog would have.
100%.
There's
100%.
no difference.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like when you have a human baby, you don't know what that thing's going to grow into.
Boy. Yeah.
So would you say then that an advice for Thane, who is very excitable, especially when people walk in, is to say whoever's coming into your house before they come in, tell them to completely ignore him. Don't feed into that.
At least for a while. What I like to do is say, hey, my dog is in training, so just ignore for the first 5 minutes, allow him to calm down, and then you can give affection.
And that's even what I found.
And 5 minutes.
With Lux,
Isn't
who's
a lot
more
of time.
anxious when people come over just because she doesn't know them. Can I trust them yet? It's her. She's more. I think she really ultimately is protective of us, and that's where it's coming from. But like my best friend's husband, he is not a dog person. And we had another dog in my family who was very similar initially when we first adopted her. And he could have given a shit that she existed. So who did she keep going to? Him. Because he didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else was like, oh, I love you. Which is what
Exactly.
my immediate reaction when I see a dog is what I want to do too.
Uh-huh.
But I've noticed with Lux, when somebody comes over who doesn't really care, and who's a little bit more like, oh yeah, that's who she's ultimately going to start going towards.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't care.
I like to equate it to like the cool kid in high school. They walk through the hallway. They don't care who's around. They just walk.
Yep.
That's what I like.
Do you
Good
work with any of
analogy.
the other rescues in town? Not necessarily some of the shelters, but I know there's some rescues in town, like Rescue for All is one I really like. And
I haven't connected with them. I work with Scraps. I work with Paradise Pet Resort, and that's all that I'm connected with at this moment. A lot of other people have their personal trainers and so on and so forth.
I just like to follow a lot of the rescues and animal stuff on the social media. I used to volunteer with the humans. So I'm a very crazy dog lady. But it's hard. I think you make a good point. It's hard not to treat dogs like you want to treat like a human toddler.
Mm-hmm. And this is the thing, is I get calls frequently for like therapy dogs, but you have to understand it's good therapy for the human, but the human doesn't feed good therapy for the dog, because the dog still needs rules, boundaries, limitations, and exercise, discipline, and affection.
Yep.
In that order. And a lot of people just get the dog, just love on it, which is great.
Yeah.
But not every dog that you get, is going to accept the affection in that manner,
Yep. Well, we just want to assume like any animal we see is a human baby. Yeah. And again, I'm 100% guilty of that too.
For sure.
But you start to learn, especially like when I volunteered at the different shelters between Seattle and Spokane, that you can't always do that.
And Matt brings a lot of his experience into even with humans. Like, he knows that I need lots of affection, so whenever we hang
Alex
out,
is needy.
he gives me a
One
lot
of
of
the the therapists were studying their techniques directly applied to animal behavior. He really didn't work with humans. He just worked with animals. But yet we use his stuff to talk about humans. B.F. Skinner.
Matt,
Yes.
it's time.
Oh! Questions?
Questions.
Let me,
For those of you joining us for the first time, we have started this new thing over the past few podcasts where
about
we...
4 weeks ago.
About 4 weeks ago, 4 podcasts ago, where we like to come up with a few questions to ask the other, co-host or people who are guest starring on the podcast, and just kind of get their answers to some of these questions. We try and make them a little interesting. Sometimes it doesn't go the way we want, but
Are they political?
But we switch. No, not typically. No. They're more existential
by the way.
or philosophical.
Well, that's where I was thinking. May not always go your way if you go there.
Right, definitely. But this week, Matt has come up with some amazing questions. I honestly don't know. I've never heard them. But we're about to find out.
Put me on the spot.
Well, last week's questions were
Suspect. At best.
Yeah, not as awesome.
Yeah. Well, so I have a rapid fire question at first, which is what Alex enjoys the most.
You have to ask me first, because if we take the time to get to me, I'm going to think about it.
Okay. Alex.
Wait, how much time do I have to answer the question? Just first thing that pops into my
As
head.
long as it takes.
That's the opposite of rapid
2
fire.
minutes.
I have
1 minute.
I have a whole minute?
You have a whole 60 seconds.
I won't time you if I
Clock
need to.
is on.
Please, I won't need that long.
Okay, what is the best stupid joke that you know?
Fuck. The best
Solid?
stupid joke? Shit.
I came up with these solo.
I don't know. I have to think of a stupid
Oh,
joke.
I already got mine.
Okay,
You already got
we're not
yours?
going to
Yeah.
start with Alex.
Yeah,
we're going to start with
let's-
him.
yeah.
Alright,
sorry,
so
I'll-
my favorite stupid joke is why are mountains so tall?
How come?
Because they don't have any natural predators.
Oh, wow.
Oh, jeez.
All right.
You're so proud of yourself every time.
Solid.
Did you make
every
that up?
time? So you've heard this before?
Oh, I've heard it like
I
1,000
think I've heard it
times.
somewhere, but yeah.
All right, now I know mine from you saying that.
All right, we are not going to skip to Alex.
All I can think of was that it was a fellow at Sasquatch told me, he was like, what does Cinderella say when she got to the ball?
What?
What?
But wouldn't that be like balls up? Was this like a...
If that doesn't
when
work
she got
as
to
well,
that?
then.
Maybe he has
She only went to one ball.
Yeah, maybe he's what is that called? What?
Uniball?
No, I don't remember.
That is the only thing that comes to mind when I'm like, oh, that's the only joke I know.
It's pretty solid. Pretty solid.
I'm in charge of the dad jokes. So
I know, that is
I've
your
got
area of
20 those.
expertise.
Well, I might have you be. Here's mine. Now that I thought about it. All right, so it starts off. So this guy,
Is this going to take longer than 60 seconds?
No.
You're already setting us up here.
you're taking longer than I am. The guy. So this guy walks into a bar and falls down.
But
Do you get it? You don't get it.
Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Well, you said
that's
it.
what you
Yeah,
asked
that's
for.
how I feel about Tim's
That's what you were
joke
looking for.
every time.
Yeah, yeah,
Man,
both-
so bad. I gave you exactly what you wanted.
Mine would be so a horse walks into a bar, and the bartender says, "Why the long face?"
Yeah.
I mean, everyone knows.
Everyone
that one.
knows that one.
Classic.
It's classic. It's classic.
It's classic, and because it's classic, it's bad.
It's bad.
Yeah, that's a bad joke.
Is that? Do I need to come up with a new one?
That's like the peanut walked into the bar and was assaulted.
I thought it was a pretzel.
I've always heard it as a peanut.
It could be either one.
It could be
Really?
either one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Another rapid fire question, and then we're gonna get into some deep stuff. We're gonna go with Alex this time. Switch the rotation.
But I'm always in the middle.
Correct.
Story of my life.
Story.
That's an interesting story that I might want to hear sometime.
I'll be back in a month.
That's
Yeah.
great to the first question I have.
You're gonna want to answer that question before you get married.
Whatever.
What is the shortest amount of time you have been at a job? And what job was it?
A summer.
One
It's
summer,
not. It's
so-
not. Yeah, I never got like fired for 2 weeks or anything like that. It was Micarilla's Produce in the Valley. I worked there for a summer.
I know that family.
Do you really? Yeah. I totally picked fucking vegetables for that guy over one summer. $20 a day under the table. And a day was like, you spent like 3 or 4 hours in the morning. But it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. Like it was. Yeah. For
Yeah.
like a high school
Farm
student,
work.
it was brutal.
So what did you do? 3 months? 2 months?
It was like 2
One
months, something
summer?
like that.
So, 2 months.
Well, yeah, so harvesting time was like in the fall, right? So
Yeah.
it was like, kind of like a month and a half, something like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Cucumbers.
Did you
smoked
quit? Did
cucumbers.
you get laid off? What happened?
Well, everyone gets laid off after you harvest.
So it was the end of the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can think of a few, but I'm gonna go with
Uh-oh.
the one where I worked on a temp job for a local sports association that refused to take phone calls from parents, that wouldn't talk to anybody, that wouldn't. Oh, it was just a clusterfuck. I was on a temp job just to answer phones and work at the front desk, and they did not want it. Nobody there wanted to do their job.
Ooh.
It was. I called my temp agency and I was like, I refuse to go back there. Absolutely.
How long
not.
were you
How many days?
I was there for 1 day.
1 day.
Wow.
1 day.
1 day.
Solid.
Yeah.
I think we hold the record so far.
Absolutely, she beats me. I think I was an HVAC technician for Corling Sheet Metal and Heating. If you use them, please don't. They're a horrible company. I think I worked there for 3 months, maybe.
Wow.
Oh.
It was a horrible experience.
Wow, 3 months. You made it 3 months.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was an odd point in my life, and I just needed I thought it was gonna be great. Turned out the company was horribly mismanaged and horrible situation all around, and I got out of there as soon as I could. But yeah, the Cortland sheet metal and heating, don't ever use them. If you do, go somewhere else. They're scamming you. That's for sure, 100%. So
All right.
Mine was
I hope you say Petco.
no. No, I was there for quite some time. We got to know each other.
I don't know
That
how-
takes time to get to know Alex.
I
You
don't
can't
know-
just jump into that.
I don't know how long you. Are you saying that I'm unapproachable?
Yes.
Oh wow.
No, I'm just
I'm
joking.
intimidating.
I'm just joking.
We talked about that
Not
earlier.
even close.
Well,
Anyway,
Would you like me to intervene here?
yes.
please.
Is Alex approachable?
Am I intimidating? You have to think about it.
This is a therapy technique. You don't say anything. I'm like, this is a horrible
I
technique.
do this when I'm buying cars.
So wait, I'm supposed to be like, oh my god, I am unapproachable, am I? Oh my god, I knew it.
Kind of, yeah.
That was not where I was going. What was your thing?
Oh, yeah,
sorry.
what's the question?
I was gonna say, are we gonna continue with this?
Yes.
With this therapy session with Alex that is much needed. I mean,
You're welcome
it
to
is-
answer if you were actually going to answer.
No.
Oh, okay.
was not.
All right. Fair enough.
You're a teddy bear. I was at Cabela's,
Oof.
and what I did was I actually did landscaping, and I would have to dig holes for trees.
Huh.
So
This was like when they were putting the one out at.
this was in Nebraska at the
All right.
time.
Oh, really?
So like new buildings that were coming up, new buildings that were being built, they would want some shrubbery and so on and so forth, and they would want certain trees at a certain maturity, typically full maturity. So I would have to dig
A
4
massive
foot
hole.
by 4 foot by 4 foot
So holes, basically.
holes, dig holes with a shovel.
From
With a shovel?
It sucked.
You
Yeah.
didn't have any
No.
special
Were
equipment.
you ripped? Were you just like in great shape that summer?
Look at the man.
That
He's in great
summer?
shape
Hold
now.
on, hold on.
how long was he there?
How long was I there?
Oh, well, that's a good
A
point.
day.
1 week
Oh.
to provide my month's rent. Done.
I bet after that 1 week you were sore as shit.
I was sore as shit.
I believe it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I had to
Yeah.
sit down
For
for
use that.
copious amounts of time.
Even that damn hot tub.
Okay,
Next question. Oh,
we're jumping
straight.
right in.
Okay.
First.
You're not in the middle
It's
anymore.
exciting.
Do you believe in
Life after love.
life after love?
Share?
No, do you believe in sharing thoughts about, pretty solid, ghosts?
Ghosts?
Do you believe in ghosts?
Ooh.
And this is not a yes or no answer. It is, but elaborate, please.
I
Have
don't
you had
think-
any experience?
I wouldn't say I have any like paranormal experience by any means of those kinds of ghosts. I think we think of ghosts and it's like, ooh, haunted, like the
My sink's turning on.
yeah, that kind of thing, or like old like mental asylums. We often think people are still there. Which I don't know. Maybe I could see that. I think there's a spiritual aspect. There could certainly be some sort of souls, spirits who are still in this world of sorts.
Look at this face. This face just says
But-
Uh-huh.
bullshit.
Tim's
Yeah.
next.
But I struggle to put a name on that. I do. I don't think of ghosts in the traditional sense by any means, but
Traditional sense is in.
as in like I think you think like, ooh, they're haunting this place. They
My-
live here. You know, my
rocking
great uncle
chair.
never left. He's still here.
Uh-huh,
Or like
uh-huh.
you know, you go to like those like small towns, like oh, this hotel was built in the 1940s. And you know how many people died here and they still live here? I don't think
And
of it
they
in
still
that
live
sense,
here.
but I think there could certainly be something that exists.
So what is
but I
your
don't know if
sense
I
of the
can-
term ghost? Like
I go ghost and I go
Spirit?
like classic. Like it's
spirit or?
yeah.
This is a really good question, especially for
Yeah.
the month that we're in.
It is a good month for that.
That's what inspired the question.
Good
Yeah.
question.
But I will say, you know, I do think there's those super old buildings like mental asylums or old hospitals where there probably is a really very bad energy left behind. Maybe it's an energy. Maybe that's what I think.
Energy, spirit,
Energy.
ghost,
Yeah.
whatever you interpret the term as.
I'm often very ambivalent where I'm like, I'm either or.
Mm-hmm.
I'm horrible about that when it comes to these things.
No experience at all.
No direct experience.
No direct.
That's where I'm like,
Uh-huh.
All right. Now I got to hear from Tim.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, so like the energy you get from the insane asylum. Well, I mean, you're in an insane asylum. You know, not great things have happened there, so
Yeah.
you already have that preconceived notion in your mind. I don't think there's just, I think you die, you're done, and there's no way left over. Nothing.
Oh, no wonder my dad loves you so much.
Yeah. That's just how it is. I have no.
No, that's a
But see, that's
perfectly
also,
valid
you
argument.
also associated ghosts with, like,
There's not a lot of...
every single person in the afterlife.
Do you believe in an afterlife?
No.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh,
That's interesting.
interesting.
I have to say the contrast because your parents are religious, are they not?
yes.
Very much so.
Oh, very much.
Really?
So, back to the parties at my house, it was referred to as drinking with Jesus.
Is that right?
Really?
You don't know that? Because there was
No.
on the cupboards in the kitchen, every freaking cupboard had some sort of religious scripture, picture, or something. There was plastered all over the house.
Wow.
You remember that?
Not particularly.
Oh, okay.
Not
Well, I
particularly.
mean, yeah, I guess I
Well, you were
would-
blacked out. It's fine.
No, I've actually, I've hung out with Tim and his parents, as we grew up, and his parents were religious, but they weren't like fanatics or pushing their religion or like saying praise Jesus all the time.
I will say that they, through high school, they weren't as religious. They've become a little bit more religious since we've graduated high school.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah. So they're very religious.
As their time comes closer, so to speak.
Yeah, I would say so. So, and I am very not at all whatsoever.
Right.
So it's, yeah, and I have a very, I guess, straightforward view of, dead, you're done.
Right.
Nothing really continues on.
So Matthew, what's your?
I have had an experience personally, unexpected. I don't research this or anything like that. I don't really give a shit. If my wife's like, I see something, I'm like, all right, car's passing by. Who the fuck knows? So I'm like that. I was living in Nebraska at the time. I purchased my condo, and my buddy Zach lived the floor above me. And the lady who lived there was an alcoholic, and she passed away from overdose, drowned herself with alcohol.
Yeah.
In that location. And we were there for a Super Bowl party. And I don't give a shit about football. I was just there to drink, right? Everybody leaves, and Zach and I were chilling, and we're in the kitchen where the beer is, naturally.
And snacks.
Oh, yeah. And Zach offers to grab me a beer. I'm like, fuck yeah, give me another beer. So he goes to the stainless steel. It's a double, one's the refrigerator, one's the freezer. Opens up the refrigerator and it props open. And he's like, all right, here you go, man. And he walks over to give me a beer because we're in discussion. From what I remember, I was very intoxicated, which might, whatever. And as he hands me the beer, the refrigerator door closes at a very quick pace. Not to where it would be naturally free-floating. It was wham! It was like frustrated, like if I just told Zach I slept with your wife or something, he would be, fuck! It was like a wham! It was a closing. It was you could hear the bottles shaking inside the door. And I was like, what the fuck? And he was like, yeah, that happens. And we left it at that. That's the only experience I ever had.
Interesting.
And it's pretty intense. I had goosebumps at the time, not so much anymore. That's what I recall of the situation. So I don't know if that was, whether it was something that couldn't pass on. I know there's theories about that. I really don't know. I guess yes, since I've had that experience. That's the only one I've ever had.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I'm a very analytical person. The types of people who tell these stories, I'm like, oh, what do you, you smoke? What do you do? So anyway, that's it. Yes. Alexander.
I have not had any kind of experience personally that I would say was definitive in any way. The closest I probably have ever had was actually recently. But I attribute it to stress. Because, life is stressful, work is stressful, I was sleeping. I was dreaming. And here in my bed. And I had dreamt that I had woken up slightly. And that, well, I guess a little bit of backstory. In my dream, I was somewhere completely different. Not in my house. And then I was in a bed sleeping. Again, not in my house. And the door to the room opened slightly. And I woke up. Not in real life, but in the dream, I had kind of stirred from my sleep in the dream and had looked over at the cracked door. And it wasn't really a figure, it was more like a presence. It was more like if you could imagine staring at a light for too long and then you look at someone and there's these dots that are just flashing around them. Mm-hmm. So it was like those dots that were just, and it wasn't humanoid form, it was just this shape of dots that was coming towards me from the door, and it came up over me. I don't want to say laid on me, because again, it wasn't like a human form. It was just these dots that had come over me in the bed as I was laying in, again, this bed that wasn't mine and this place that I had never been. And I felt pressure, like it was pushing on me. And at first it was okay, this is kind of weird. But then the pressure grew, and it was uncomfortable to the point where I felt not scared, but that point where you're oh, I might not be able to get out of this if the pressure continues. I might be stuck. And at that point, I woke up in real life to my entire body, my real body in my own bed, just flipping over, taking your arm and trying to smash away whatever this thing was that was coming over me. And it was such a jarring experience, because waking up from a dream like that is so jarring, just ugh! And then your eyes open and I'm in my room, my door is still closed, everything's fine, and I just went back to sleep. That was the closest experience I could say I had, but again, I still think it's just a dream. As far as my own personal beliefs...
Stress-induced, probably?
I believe it was stress-induced. As far as my own personal beliefs, I want to believe that there is something else. I think that belief is spurred on mostly for the fear of death, because I don't want to die. And if I die, I want to continue to exist somehow. Mm-hmm. So I want to believe that there is something else after this, but I am also a very analytical person, and I don't have any proof of that. I've never had any proof of any kind of, what's the word?
Haunting?
No. What's the word for things that are unexplainable, or that...
Like the paranormal?
Paranormal. I've had no proof of any kind of paranormal thing or personally experienced, in a waking state, any kind of paranormal activity. And so, because I have no proof of that, until I see it, I don't believe it. Mm-hmm. But I hope that when I die, I continue on, because I don't want to die. You know
Reincarnation.
what I mean? Yeah. A reincarnation doesn't count, because when you're reincarnated, you don't remember your past life. I could have been reincarnated now, and I don't remember what the fuck I was before this.
But sometimes, for some cultures, the idea of the reincarnation is you reincarnated to something you deserved, for better or for worse.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
But when I say I don't want to die, I'm talking about me.
As right now.
As of right now.
Yep.
This is me now. Whatever I am later, I don't give a fuck, because this is me now, and I want to continue to be me later.
This is sometimes why people want to have children. Just by the way, Tim.
Again, doesn't count, because, you're not going to remember who you are when they're born. Just saying. All right. Good question. Next question.
Thank you.
Oh, gosh, there's more.
Thank you. Oh, there's more.
How many more?
Yes. Alex.
Okay.
What is the best investment you have ever made? Let me finish. Financially, emotionally, socially, etc. Question mark.
I don't think that you can mix them. Financially, the best investment I've ever made is this house. Tim knew that off the bat.
This is a fantastic house.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. But emotionally, that's tough.
Yeah.
That is tough because you learn a little bit emotionally from every experience or decision that you make, right? So I am the person I am today because of the myriad of decisions that I have made over the years to make me this person, right? So there are definitely decisions that I regret. We talked about this a little earlier. I regret being a shitty roommate to you with that apartment. But part of that experience of doing those things and regretting that, has helped me to be the person that I am today, and I like myself a lot better now than I, did that person at the apartment. So it's rough because I could say that was an investment. I didn't know it was an investment at the time. But because I made those decisions, it helped to make me who I am today, who is much more responsible, who doesn't, overly drink or do drugs at all, and who owns a house and owns a car and, keeps his life together. So if I had to pick one experience, it would probably be opening my business. Yeah.
And what did you learn from it?
I learned a lot about responsibility. I learned a lot about the cost of, or let me back up. I learned a lot about expectations, realistic expectations versus non-realistic expectations. Back then I was 23, 24 when we opened the business. And
You think you know it all?
You think you know it. Me and my business partner had a lot of expectations as far as what we thought the business would grow to. And it was crazy. So when you go to a bank to get a loan for a business, you have to have a business plan.
Yes.
And that business plan, inside that business plan, is supposed to be projections for where you think you're going to start as far as revenue and where you plan to be as far as revenue within 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years. And our projections were, now that I've had this experience, were way out of proportion, right?
Typically are.
And because of that, most banks, we probably shopped around at like 5 banks before we found one that gave us a loan. Most of those banks would be like, we appreciate you coming in, but we don't think that your projections are realistic. And we'd be like, what are you talking about? This is going to be amazing. I don't understand. Yeah. We're going to be making thousands of dollars. So there was a lot of experience, and now we've talked a little bit about opening a business. I have a little bit of a better understanding of the expectations or the cost to revenue, ratio for starting a business. I mean, obviously it depends on the business. You know what I mean? When you're starting, are you going to rent a place? I mean, are you going to have inventory? Things like that.
Absolutely. What are you supplying?
Exactly. What are you selling? Essentially, So that would be the single most probably profound emotional experience that I had, was opening the business.
Which is a big one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For me, well, financially, it would probably be so I bought a house when I was 20. It's pretty. It was a cheap house. The housing market was great, so I got in this house for super cheap, and this kind of it was an alright neighborhood. And then shortly after me moving into this neighborhood, it turned out to be like the district that it was in turned out to be improving quite a bit. So it became like this nice, really cool hub of like this restaurants, other things there. There's a couple of bars.
Nice.
And so it turned out to be this really cool area, and so obviously that affected my house value, and then the market changed, and so my first house turned out to be a very good investment for me, and now allowed me to buy my second house that I live in now. So that was financially was the first best thing. What are the other categories there?
Emotional.
Emotionally,
That was kind of what I
socially,
that's
kind
what
of
I
all
saw
in
it
all.
was emotional.
So socially, I would probably say is well, this goes back to a while ago. Run clubs. Shortly after high school, turned 21 or whatever. So I had my house at the time, and but all my close friends, probably like out of like me and Alex is probably our closest friends that we had. The majority of them, other than Alex, joined the Marine Corps or some sort of military branch, and so like I saw all my friends leave, and I didn't have anybody. I didn't have anybody to hang out with, and it was a weird time. So like I didn't know what to do, and so I joined a couple run clubs, and they turned out to be one of the best places for me to socially interact with people and gain a lot of friends from that, and really helped develop me as far as like a young adult who at the time had just recently been able to buy alcohol and stuff like that. So that was probably the most social aspect for me. And then obviously emotional would be my lovely fiance here.
That's me.
Yeah, so
Quite the investment.
yes,
You're
it's been
welcome.
quite
Very
an
much so.
Investment for the rest of your life.
and it's been
Sucker.
very much a growing experience. So it's we've definitely grown a lot since the last 3 years, and some things that we've gone through and worked out, and it's been a great experience. So
Fantastic.
She's doing that therapy thing where she doesn't she doesn't
Right,
respond.
right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you.
Don't touch my feet.
Is that the right response?
No, that was great. That was great. Okay.
Does that mean it's my turn?
It is.
I have no answer for financially. I own nothing.
You own a house?
You own your car?
No, I do not own a house.
Oh. But
I live in Tim's house.
I see. You're on the house. I thought
Yeah.
You drive a car.
I drive a car.
That's
The bank still technically owns it. I'm making loan payments on it.
I would say
It's hard.
I will say my undergraduate, that's
There you
paid
go.
off. My
There you go.
bachelor's degree is paid off, so
Nice.
that's pretty big. Yeah.
Nice.
I will just be in debt for the car and the graduate school, but that's not too bad.
That's
I
not,
mean,
that's not
compared,
too bad.
compared to really a lot of people
Ex-
around our age, that is, I'm very well off.
Mm-hmm.
So making good financial choices in some ways is my big. If you're young enough, apply for scholarships and go to community college. You'll save a lot of money. That's my big there. Socially and emotionally, the other one. It was learning to know my self-worth, and people who were toxic in my life, learning to remove them, and that was okay. To take care of myself, that was huge. When I was living in Seattle, like we talked about earlier, I was pretty lonely, but I always say I learned to date myself. I learned it was okay to go to movies by myself or go do things by myself. That was huge.
That's big.
That is one of the
huge.
things with, especially Tim being in the military, I'm really independent. And when he leaves, even though I miss him and it can be hard, and some days are worse than others, I'm okay because I can survive on my own too. He adds to my life. He doesn't. He makes a huge difference, but I'm okay when he's gone. I can take care of myself. That's been a huge component
Great
for me.
perspective.
Do you have a personal hobby that you tend to do while he's gone?
They're called Thane and Lux.
All right.
And I just obsess over them.
All right. Fair enough. Well, you have them.
Well,
That's
and it's
good.
hard. You know, in the past, I always had a job. So really, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, I was working, and then you have your weekends, and so I was kind of relaxing. And it'll be interesting now being in school when he's gone, kind of the difference. But I've just always been independent enough that it doesn't. I can find ways to entertain myself, take care of myself. That's been the big thing, is learning to be independent, and that it's okay if I felt lonely to be by myself, and that people who didn't need to be in my life, who weren't fulfilling, that it was okay if they weren't in my life. That was pretty big.
Wow.
Meeting Tim has
It's
been
very mature.
meeting
to
Tim has
understand.
been a huge. I think Tim and I are both really each other's first truly long term serious. You had one other, but it's a learning. It's a learning curve when you're really combining your lives together, for better or for worse.
This is the first time I really combined my life with somebody and so intertwined with each other.
There's a lot of trust in that,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
and it's hard to get there for sure.
Yeah.
I came back from a deployment after I sold my first house. I didn't have any place to live. My parents had just retired and they moved up to Sandpoint, Idaho. I literally had to ask Sophia's mom if I could live in her basement.
I was living with my mom in her basement at the time.
And I had to be like, "Can I come stay with you till I can find a new house to live in?" So yeah, I lived there for 3-4 months.
Yeah.
I totally get that. When Galaxy Gaming closed down, I was dating Lauren at the time, and my business partner Jace, me and him had been very, very tense between us, and so we both knew that at the time I was living with him, and we both knew that I needed to move out, and so I had to ask Lauren's mom if I could move into their basement with Lauren, and so yeah, totally get that. It's rough. Matt, you haven't answered.
Let's see. The best investment, of course, would definitely have to be my wife. When we met, actually.
Yeah. That's crazy
Like
to think about.
same day?
6 years ago? Actually, quite
No.
literally.
No, not
No,
the same day. How long had she been working there?
Her and I started on the same day.
Is that right?
That's right.
That's adorable.
And when I started working there, you were already working there. How long?
Yes,
how long
but
had you
we
been?
weren't involved. We were
No,
just
you didn't bring
kind of
me work.
social.
How long had you been working there by the time I showed up?
Like 2 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah, shortly after. Very shortly
Interesting.
after.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But as we know from our relationship, we're different people than we were then. So the emotional aspect would be, 6 years with Brittany. Like I was 24 when we met, and I'm completely different now. My aspirations and goals and hers are completely different.
He's not that different.
Same great sense of humor, mind you. I mean, don't get me wrong.
The important parts haven't changed.
But you change, you mold into
Absolutely.
certain people,
Yeah.
and you're completely different than who you were a decade ago, and just crazy.
yeah.
So that's quite an investment to commit yourself to somebody, even though you're changing, and we are changing together, and to be committed to each other. That's probably my best emotional investment. Financially, it was definitely my credit to help us get a house. That's what got us started and able to move here. Socially would definitely be the dogs, to help people understand that the dogs are the real teachers, and that we need to provide a certain energy, and that energy can be involved into sporting events, to work ethic, to anything related in life, to be calm and assertive, to be confident in other aspects of your life. That definitely just is that ripple effect. So that's socially what I provide is confidence to clients.
Dogs are
They're-
great teachers.
They are
know
the
how to
teachers.
be in the moment right now and then.
Absolutely.
They don't remember 5 minutes ago. They don't
Mhm.
care what happened 5 minutes ago, and they don't care what's going to happen in 5 minutes.
Which helps us stay in the moment, which is like, don't even think about what happened yesterday,
Yep.
because it's how you feel right now, Crazy stuff.
Okay, we've got time for about one more question, so make it the
Are
good
we like
one.
3 hours in?
2:27.
Wow.
Ooh.
This
Yeah.
is one of the longest I think we've had.
Our last podcast this month is going to be really short.
Let's go ahead and let's call that good.
No, I want to do one more.
Rapid fire.
Sure.
Oh yeah. Let's see.
You got one on the back. I can't read it. Is it good? Or do you want to do a different one?
This one was suspect.
Oh,
Let's
right.
go ahead and do it.
all right.
What do you contribute back to society?
Jesus. Rapid fire, Tim, go.
Rapid fire, Tim.
Freedom.
I mean, yours is pretty easy because you work for
National
the
security.
Yeah, all right.
Rapid fire.
Wit, sass, and charm.
Wow.
Good looks.
Good look. Okay.
He's got
I don't
that.
know if I can top these. Confidence to people.
I mean, well, you took mine, so I just went for the good looks.
That's it. That's it. Rapid fire.
What?
Done.
Nothing? Nothing from you?
Yeah, I said.
He said confidence.
Providing confidence
Oh,
to people.
providing confidence,
Basically, my last answer was this answer.
Gotcha.
There we
All
go.
right. Okay, well,
Wow.
that was the show this week.
2.5 hours.
This
Done.
This has actually, I think, been our longest podcast. Yeah, I think the longest one before this was probably like 2:13, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. So this was a really good podcast. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Sophia, for
Tim.
joining us this
Sophia.
week.
Fantastic being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm super glad
is
you had
great.
fun because we're definitely going to want to have you guys back.
Can't wait.
Our listeners need to recap. Need to catch up with you two again.
Yeah,
Alright.
we're
After
gonna
we're
want to
married.
exactly
After you're married.
Exactly, we're gonna know how's the marriage going, how's the house, how's the job. We want to know after you
The
got,
degree.
Yeah, I
how's
got a
the
ways to go for
degree?
that.
Well, how
That's fine.
at least how's it going?
New
you know?
classes, whether
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
taking the psychology of wine or something like that. What is it?
Exactly. And to all of you who have listened this far, congratulations for making it through 2.5 hours of content.
Thank you, Mandy.
Mindy.
Mindy.
Wow,
Oh.
dude. Wow, what a blow.
Wow.
Sorry, Mindy.
Wow.
I apologize.
This is
He's-
awkward now.
You know
Yeah.
what? You know what?
Oh, jeez.
He's better with faces, Mindy. So you just have to come on the podcast, and he'll definitely never
Yes.
forget your name after that. Right?
Correct.
Exactly. Okay. To those of you who are joining us for the first time, thank you very much for hanging out with us, listening to us ramble and talk about awesome things like fucking being a fucking
Boom operator.
Boom operator. I was leading up to that.
Uh-huh.
And also going to college for a therapy degree. What was your degree actually called?
Masters of Science in Clinical Mental Health Counseling.
I like therapy
degree.
Yeah, way better.
We'll go with therapy degree.
Just thank you. There's a good 30 or 40 of you listening at any given month, and we just appreciate it. It's honestly, I mean, we had no expectations when we started the podcast, and to see 30 or 40 people
We just enjoy it.
regularly coming back, it is a blessing.
Mindy,
I'm not religious, but-
Mindy, I'm sorry. I want you to know that I personally am shouting out to you right now.
He honestly
I apologize.
feels bad.
My
about
face
it.
is red.
A little bit.
As red as the wine we were drinking.
I think it was the one.
All right, well, that's our episode for the week. Thank you all again, and we will see you next week on the catch up.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.